A year ago, when we had that first HRX, and Na'Vi was the team that ended up coming out on the World Champion, the only person on Envy whose name I knew was Meta Pusher, and that's because me and him were sitting on the desk for about 10 plus hours. I guess that one day there was a 17-hour day together. So watching them go through and watching that documentary and like seeing their journey, right, and kind of reliving it has always been, it's just so fresh because it's exciting to see the hard work they put in and have it pay off at the very end. The same thing goes for other teams, and I mean, what better way to not only watch, I guess, reward them with the World Champion, then they get this documentary, and now they just have to do it again. They have to beat Na'Vi one more time. That's their first matchup in the PPL.
It's a little bit of justice for the viewers as well. Get a rematch, but yeah, no, definitely. And I mean, you obviously got a lot of that through the documentary. I mean, none of them are settling for one world championship. I mean, immediately they're saying, all right, well, let's get back to work. Let's make sure next season we do it again. Let's make sure that we're able to keep up what we started and do more of it next season.
And we saw a few of the players, I mean, actually we saw them a lot just now, a lot of the players, all of Envy throughout the last few minutes, but I mean, being able to look at them, the team has stayed completely the same, which makes sense. You just won a world championship. There's no reason for any of you to go up for free agency or to try to bring anyone in. It is going to be the same 6 guys, the same 5 in-game, and the same brain behind them all in Meta Pusher. And of course, we've got the fantastic players that come through, but the one I think people are most excited to see regularly on LAN is going to be Rock Monkey, and I think it's because his aim. People already have mentioned that, and the admins have said this too, is their favorite perspective to watch because it's just so amazing to watch this guy aim.
I mean, he really just, I mean, of course he misses, but he just doesn't miss. I mean, he, especially on these champions, I said this earlier today watching Cassie, but a champion like Cassie, such a rhythm-based champion in a 1, 2, 3 over and over. And Rock Monkey is just, he is one of the best, if not the best in the game at finding that rhythm, finding that accuracy, and once he hooks onto that, once he finds his footing, it's not going to be easy to stop him. And he's such an unassuming guy, like kind of quiet, kind of reserved, but like he is so good, and certainly one of the main sort of pinpoints in this Envy lineup.
And as you could just see, like, I mean, a ton of damage, a ton of just, I guess, playability from him, where he was always the forefront. He was always one of the ones, like the driving factor behind the engine. Of course, you can never count out Tulki, Rubu, the rest of the crew for what they provide to the team, but he's always going to be the one making the flashier plays, him and Random Noob. But they are going up against Na'Vi, but Na'Vi are coming into this slightly different. Mutu was unable to make it for this week, so they do have a sub coming in to play for him, essentially filling the exact same role that he would be, and that's going to be Zarini, who we've gotten to see quite a bit in the minor league. Yeah,
and he's on Sour Team in the minor league, and Sour Team is one of the best teams in the minor league. So like, while you could call it a question mark, but he's certainly a great player, and certainly will do his best to fill those shoes. But you see the replays here. Creatives is certainly one of the guys to watch on this Na'Vi lineup. I mean, he, similarly to Rock Monkey, he doesn't miss very much either. He's such a rhythm-based player as well, and Na'Vi's lineup is so star-studded. They have such high potential, and I mean, this is going to be a close one. The World Finals was a close one. Na'Vi's lineup is, the same, essentially, and I think they'll put up a good fight here.
And this is one of the players that has been, a driving force for them. Creatives was originally playing, I feel like there was like a subset of champions that in my head, they were always Creatives. And then he started playing more. And then he just kept adding champions into that pool throughout the entire competitive last year. And it kind of blew my mind because I was like, I guess he can, like, okay, this is going to go to Creatives. I wonder, like, how's he going to do on this? To the point where eventually you just stop doubting and you're just like, cool, Creatives is going to play this well.
Right. No, and that's important. I mean, even beyond being able to do well on a huge champion pool for your own team, you can't ban him. It's hard to find a way to play around it. So certainly the guy I think on Na'Vi to keep your eye on.
Well, much like we did earlier, and even though you've heard a lot from them through the documentary, the question is, how is Envy feeling? How are they doing, and what are they feeling going into this set? We actually have an interview standing by with them, so let's go ahead and hear how they feel.
Guys, we are here down on the players' floor with none other than Mr. Rubu himself. How are you feeling, man? I know you've said the same thing to me when we've been talking in the hallway. What are you ready to do right now?
I just want to hurry up and play already.
He's like, let me just play. So, like, what does today mean for you guys? The fact that the league is starting and everything that's been building up to this moment since your World Championship.
This is kind of what was building up after Worlds, which was everyone moving to Atlanta and coming and playing in the LAN League. So it's kind of exciting to see all of it come through to fruition and finally being able to play.
Are there any nerves because of the fact that you guys have all end here? You know, every game means so much more now that you've moved here. You're in the team house. We had a chance to visit that. Is there any sense of just like how big and how important this is coming to your forefront today in the game?
No, I think it's the same thing. It's like business as usual, and we just got to treat it as that, and then we'll be fine.
How do you feel about the meta? The first set was a little interesting. People were evolving. It went a little longer than I expected personally. How do you feel like the meta is going to shift and start to look when we're all on LAN, EU and NA facing off?
I think the biggest thing is looking out for like teams' play styles and how they play and how they react to each other. So I think that's going to be a big part of the meta and how teams adapt to one another.
Obviously, Navi was missing Phoenix. Now they're missing Mutu. How do you feel that's going to affect them?
I think regardless of subbing people in and out, I think they're still a really strong team, and we shouldn't underestimate them.
All right, well, that's Rubu from MV, guys. Let's send it back to the desk to break it down before we hear from Phoenix.
I think the last thing he says there, not to underestimate them, because no matter what, they're still going to be great, is a point I wanted to make where it's still 4/5 of a team that has won a world championship, a team that took Envy to 6 games at the last world championship. Like, it's maybe not all 5 of them, maybe not firing on all cylinders for them, but when you're 99 out of 100 there, you're still going to feel comfortable.
Right, and it's a culture of respect that they sort of built around their team. I mean, nobody, and this will continue even beyond Na'Vi, you won't see Envy disrespecting. Of course, they're not going to be disrespectful people, but like as far as showing respect towards the skills of another team, I mean, they will never underestimate. That's the right word. Underestimate any of the teams in this league. I mean, they are always preparing for anything and everything that they can. So, not surprised to hear that from Rubu at all.
And I mean, just going back to what they had said, I mean, they're looking at this as we have to do the same amount of hard work, the same amount of effort that we put into last year if we want to do it again. Like, there's no way to get 2 times world championship unless you are going to be able to kind of pick that up. And the same thing was kind of in the mindset of Na'Vi during last year. They won one, and I think it was within 8 days of winning the world championship, they were all scrimming again. And we actually happen to have Phoenix standing by, someone who wasn't intended to be here originally. So let's see how they're feeling going into this set.
All right, we're here with Phoenix, the man, the myth, the legend. You somehow made it, buddy.
Somehow I did, yeah.
Any more backstory to that adventure?
Basically, I got an email that I could pick up my passport, and my flight was like 2 hours after that, so I just had to rush.
Wow, so you made it on your flight. How much time did you have left?
I arrived yesterday, 10 p.m.
Wow, okay. So you've been traveling a lot. That's the big thing in Europe that's going to start to be a different dynamic. The fact that you guys are traveling in and out until you get your team houses, if you move here fully, has that had any effect on the guys, the energy level, the morale?
No, our team is just, we're kind of like dealing with everything that's been going on with the travel issues initially. We know it's a long season, and that's what our plan. We're just going to keep moving forward, and we know we're going to be strong in the end.
So you got to keep your head up high, because obviously Mutu's not here, and he's a big part of your team. Zarini is filling in. How do you feel? Give me some words on Zarini, how he's feeling, and how he's going to play a role in today's game.
I mean, Zarini is just going to take my role, and I'm just going to take Mutu's role because I've been flexing on DPS before, and Zarini is a very confident player. He's been playing with us, against us for a long time. He's a top player in the PML, and we have confidence in him. We're just going to play our game. Like, we know we're in a disadvantage. We're just going to keep our heads up and do our best.
All right, thank you, Phoenix from Na'Vi. Let's send it back to the desk and get ready for this set.
Well, I think it's important to note when you have someone like Zarini stepping in, having a sub. It's interesting because we've had several players who have made a mainstay from having a solid performance as a sub. So Zarini has the confidence of Phoenix, has the confidence of Na'Vi. Do you think they're still going to look good?
I think they are, and I mentioned this sort of earlier when we brought him up, but it's not like I'm going in there and trying to. They would certainly lose if I were anywhere near those team. I mean, Zarini is one of the best players we have in the PML. So I mean, chemistry-wise is more where I'm looking in this matchup. I think that skill-wise, I mean, comparing him to Mutu's maybe not entirely fair, but he certainly will be able to hold his own. But it's the chemistry, not having worked with the team the entire time, that's what I'll look for.
Well, it's going to be the chemistry, and it's going to be how it works all in-game for them that's going to matter the most. We have our maps coming in pretty shortly, and one of the other things Phoenix mentioned during all of that is that they aren't looking at this individual set. They are looking at the whole season, and it's a long season. It's 13 weeks of play for them, so maybe one set doesn't go your way. You're looking towards the end. They're going to be going to Bright Marsh first. And I mean, this is a very solid map, very similar to what we actually saw at the very beginning of the last set.
Yep.
Don't let this one mislead you, because 4-0s on Bright Marsh aren't the most difficult thing if you get ahead. The question is whether or not you can maintain that for the next 3 games to just find a 4-0 in the set.
No, and that's what we saw in set number 1. I mean, this is Envy's pick. They have first pick here on maps. But you saw Ninjas in Pajamas in the last set. I mean, they came out
I was
hot.
worried after that
I
first
know.
game.
We were assuming, you know, it was going to be a 4-0, but you can never count out any of these teams. But Envy looking towards a Bright Marsh, looking towards a map that they're comfortable with. Most teams should have this map somewhere in their back pocket.
Yeah.
So Navi will certainly feel comfortable here as well. But Envy starting things off with a Bright Marsh pick, starting things off with a Torvald Makoa ban. So the frontline bans continue. Not too surprising to see that.
And honestly, I think we're looking at this because the way we saw it last set, major frontline bans.
Right.
This set so far starting with major frontline bans. That's just because they can shape the game so much in
Certainly,
terms of the
definitely.
playability, especially when you're looking at these frontline players. Zarini being thrown in there, but being able to play along with Lazy, going up against Rubu and Tulki. Like, there's so much pressure, I think, to perform at that highest of levels that a simple Makoa pick literally could swing the game
Right.
into one side or the other.
No, and in last set as well, we saw just so much impact coming in from a lot of those frontliners. Ash making a lot of waves actually early on here today in the PPL. Grover certainly not confused to see him coming out first. He's been one of the highest priority picks as well. And Naras, and neither team giving away too much. The Cassie, happy to see that. Already has a 67% win rate, kind of a small pool to go off of, but I definitely agree. Getting her in the right hands is a game changer.
So I want to know how you feel. I mean, we're going to Bright Marsh.
Yep.
Obviously, snipers have never been big on this map. So when you tone it back, we're not in the PML.
Right.
We can't look at Stigma and
Right.
use him
I
as
know, I was
an
gonna say.
example for this. But you get Leon's Cassies are normally the go-to long range, but still able to fight in that mid-range,
Right.
short range area. They banned the Leon to take that away from Rock Monkey, and they
Yep.
grabbed the Cassie. How are you feeling about that?
I think it's smart. I mean, I think that's exactly what they did. I think it's exactly why they did it. There's still some champions that can maybe kind of fill that niche, but not the same way that Cassie can. I mean, that is a power pick to steal away the Cassie and take away the Leon as well. I mean, I think that's a very good start to the draft here. Following it up with a Damba and a Ruckus. I mean, they have the makings of a very good draft here. On the opposite side, Fernando's always kind of been the question mark, I think, in that he's not as strong as he once was. I mean, he's tanky and he has good abilities, but there's certainly higher priority people. Envy, definitely a good team drafting wise, so I think they have something maybe interesting in store here for the Fernando.
I'm actually looking at this Fernando and
Shaolin.
wondering if it's going to be the same that I've seen in the past from Rubu, or if they're maybe going to try to shift things up. They grab the Drogos, they grab the Shaolin, and they close it off with the Ashe.
Yep.
How are you feeling about their lineup?
So Shaolin kind of fills that role that I had just said Leon kind of took away. So
And a
that's
good
the
Rock
route
Monkey
that they're going with it. And certainly, again, Rock Monkey, if somebody's going to make a Shaolin work, it's certainly going to be Rock Monkey. And on a map like Bright Marsh, I think it's good. I like the Envy lineup. I think they have a solid core of 5. I mean, again, that Fernando's kind of that middle ground where I'm not in love with it. I don't hate it. Ashe kind of saves it for me. We saw her do huge things in our first set here today. I imagine that'll continue. So I look on the Envy lineup, the Shaolin, the Ashe kind of being the picks I want to keep my eye on.
They're definitely the ones to keep an eye out for, but Bomb King was locked in at the very end for Na'Vi, so a lot of things going Bright Marsh's way, at least in terms of the draft, but we're going to have to see how it comes out when they decide to play through this one. Will the Fernando and the Shaolin work? Are they going to fall flat on their face? Envy have to show us that. Bomb King on the other side is going to be the playmaker for Bright Marsh, so Evan, Nick, go ahead and take it away.
The Bright Marsh Opera, brought to you by our in-studio band, continuing to impress on their debut in the PPL.
So consistent, these guys.
They are.
They never miss a note.
Never miss a note, always on beat. And Bright Marsh will be a treat for all of us watching and casting. We'll see Phoenix flexing onto the big game casting. Not much of a flex for him. He's very familiar with the DPS role. He'll often be on the Leon and the Tyra. But let's talk a little bit about this Fernando. There was a little secret kind of really good, but we haven't seen much of it. This is the team that would show us how good it is.
I thought it was going to be...
see that loadout.
I thought it was going to be Rubu as well. It's interesting that Tolkien will be piloting young Nando today. Curious to see what he rocks and rolls. So he's got his cooldown. He's got his health back on Fireball and some health. Fairly simple loadout here. We're playing it as a point tank, which is not something that we see a ton. The only times we've seen it is when it has to come in under Barrack as the C-tier point tank, if you will.
Absolutely. And I think right there, what I would assume is that Formidable passive already went through. The thing about Formidable, it's got an internal cooldown. I believe it's 30 seconds at this point. It was 45. And there is a chance it is still 45. I do not play a lot of Formidable Fernando, and it has often been kind of the meme loadout for him for a long time. Right now, 36% counting for Na'Vi. They back off. Random Noob in the air on the Drogos. This has been his go-to for, well, since he started playing professional Paladins.
Rubu just trying to keep everybody controlled. Shoulder bashing out while still very healthy. Making sure he seeds that ground. That first fight, not really one on the point, really. It's Rock Monkey getting that pick. Can he do it again, though? The aggro tank and the blaster starting to push around here. Zarini, he's a substitute today. All eyes are on him. How will he perform? Diving in onto Rubu, but again, Rubu will escape.
Try to get the body block as well. So close to doing it. Random Noob hasn't found the angle yet. Creative's playing on the high ground. He's trying to make his move as well, and this is a tough one. Bright Marsh has a pretty high skybox, and he can get away from those bombs and make it difficult. Random Noob finds the first, but gets Dread Serpent feared into the corner. No follow-up, though.
Luckily.
So it's still available for them to contest. 96% for Team Envy.
Got feared off into a pretty favorable direction here. Now Cassie's trying to find those bolts, and Lazy will fall. Everyone is dead. Na'Vi look like they will fall first to Team Envy's Fury, and a lot of ultimates charged and also used in that fight.
And this is going to be a very, I think, thematic moment for this set, where there's a lot of close fights that could go either way, and a great play from somebody is going to make the difference. Rock Monkey on Shaolin, he had a lot of damage contributing into that fight. He's one of those DPS players that is considered to be at the top charts, and he's using Explosive Arrow to show that as well.
Yeah, looking to play fairly safe, which is why I want to comment. I didn't see First Blood, but I saw Creatives die second, and it feels like if the second death was anything like the first, you know, it's not Zarini's fault. And we're pointing fingers at Creatives and saying, buddy, you're getting picked twice now.
Yeah, it was a tough, it's a tough matchup. And again, we talk about no hit scan against this Drogos. Now, in certain maps, you can do it well, but Bright Marsh is one of those maps that it's so hard because the peek and poke potential plus the skybox being so high, it's just such a, I mean, hitting that projectile, you're almost 50% of it's luck, 50% of it's good aim.
Well, Phoenix is comfortable playing this DPS because 3 DPS used to be a thing last season, and that's just really where he was forced. It's never he went there over any of his other backliners. Right. So he's not in his most comfortable role today, but I wouldn't say he's uncomfortable where he's at. Again, Zarini, nothing really to say about the sub yet today. Hasn't really done much of anything.
It's not a bad role. It's a very aggressive role, though, and it can be game-changing. Giving it to Zarini shows some confidence, and it also shows that they're all in. They have to use him the way they would be expecting Phoenix to do it, and he hasn't been able to get into the back line and cause a ruckus as the ruckus gets deleted by the man with the bow. No candy cane pain this time, but the damage is done. Nonetheless, 4 kills, a triple, and Team Envy take a 2-0 lead.
I mean, we're not watching scrims, but for us, Explosive Arrow Shaolin 7-0 after a 1 round against Na'Vi. That's not exactly a bet I would have taken this morning. So no. Rock Monkey certainly surprising. I don't know if Creatives just isn't used to that TTK of what Explosive Arrow Shaolin brings or what Shaolin brings, period. You'd have to imagine he's fairly familiar with the character, but at the moment, there's a couple miscalculations to the first round.
And I think you know, Shaolin brings burst and he brings consistency, and the ways that players utilize it are obviously hitting the burst when it is available and hitting all of your shots consistently. That's what can determine a great player. Rock Monkey's one of the most consistent DPS players, which makes him the best, which makes Shaolin much more of a threat than it normally would be. When he's finding all of these shots, it's a different TTK for everybody. And of course, as I say that, he's got to miss 2 in a row.
There it is. King Bomb. Take 2 will roll through now.
Good Dread Serpent.
But it's so much, man. It's 2 ults for just random.
I mean, they might have felt that the Drogos was the thing they didn't really come prepared to deal with, and I would agree with the lineup. But yeah, you're right. They sacrificed a lot of ults to get that.
For a 2-for-1. They lost that trade.
Yikes.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know what's going on there, but that's not the way, the truth, and the light. I don't know if that was a moral that kept him alive, but, you know, great ultimates from Team Envy. Try and counter-engage, and they still have gas in the tank.
And Tolki on an 8 streak. This Fernando is working out for them. We haven't spectated the POV very much. Knowing when to get out and how is going to be key to this. There's the heal, the whirlwind from Grover, the ultimate to keep him nice and healthy, and now Zarini just ulting for the sake of ulting, because that was not going to kill anyone there. Beautiful stuff from Envy. They're going to take their 3rd point.
Let's be honest, it's the world champs versus a team, you know, with a substitute. Phoenix is not uncomfortable today, but doing something he's not normally doing. I don't know how much they were practicing this. If Envy came out and they did lose this game, I think that's the more surprising storyline here. I think this feeling a little bit business as usual here on Bright Marsh. Good stuff from Team Envy all around, and I don't know what Na'Vi are going to do to respond.
Yeah, and Rock Monkey on a 14 streak as well. Just so deadly, so dominant. Phoenix under pressure, gets taken down. Explosive Arrow might have done the deed himself. Gets a planet kill, back to the withdraw thanks to the elimination reduction in the loadout. Zarini running towards his demise, even though he's trying to get some damage on the fight. It is a day late and $1 short. Tolki cleans that one up, and everyone on Natus Vincere is dead. This is looking like a clean wipe. Like our first set was an easy 4-0.
It's just Envy, though. I mean, they did not want to underestimate Na'Vi, despite the disadvantages they were coming in today with, despite having to travel, despite being tired, you know, all this. Envy have been here for weeks, sleeping in their own beds, scrimming in their house, feeling comfortable, feeling good. You know, they're comfortable. They're in the swing of this season right now. They are the defending world championship, and they are playing like it.
And that is a really important thing I keep bringing up, but, you know, the real world applications and consequences of playing on LAN for European players is much higher when the LAN is in North America. They have to move their lives here. They have to jumble things up, whether it's getting people to take care of their stuff while they're gone for an extended period of time, doing those annoying things, parking your car at the airport. Who knows, man? But those things come into play, and tax players, when their main focus needs to just be hitting this Dragon Punch, a random noob, nice and in his bed. I think he's going to be able to land this one on the Inara, who cannot go anywhere.
What a monster, right? I mean,
unbelievable tracking.
That's why he's a champ.
Yeah.
And that's why he's a champ right there. And in all seriousness now, it looks like, you know, cleaning things up here, but definitely not getting as rolled as they were at the very start of this game. Na'Vi won a fight somewhere in there, but now they have to defend against 4 more ultimates and a potential 4-0 loss here on Bright Marsh.
And I think this is looking like there's no way out, because Creatives and Phoenix aren't finding kills. Zarini actually has the most kills in the game for Na'Vi, 3 and 7. But you can tell he's been diving very heavily, and towards the end of fights as well. Not necessarily creating space, but trying to clean up. And beautiful stun and set up. Oh my God. Rubu, beautiful play. If he can get Creatives too, that's 2. Him and Rock Monkey. Team Purity. Are they going to 2v5 Na'Vi? Random noob comes in and says, let me get in on that party. Okay, I was here before Purity. I was here first at 311 health. He's still here. Lazy doesn't see him. The wall actually blocks Lazy off, but Spunky finds the kill. That would have been something.
Wow, that was actually so sick for a moment there. And yes, Rubu dives. He does dive to the back line. He gets Spunky, and that's tough. I mean, that's just Na'Vi were ulting one way. He was ulting the other.
Yeah.
I can't really comment as to whether I think a different type of play would have been right or wrong there. I think cutting off the support is definitely not a bad move, but definitely a hard-hitting defense for Na'Vi. They had to spend a lot for it.
And you see Zarini in there. That's the player who had his hand on his forehead. Good guy. Really talked to him a little bit. Seemed like a nice fellow, so obviously would like to see him do well on his debut, but right now, going up against the powerhouse Envy, the world champs, defending their title, first game, these guys have been so ready to just play. Rubu said in the interview himself, he's like, I'm just ready to get out there. And they certainly have made the most of this moment. 3-1 means next point, if they get it, they win the first game.
Well, the whole theme of today is keep your head up, I guess. When you're looking at the night set, when you're looking at just the league structure this year, 13-week phases. I mean, you got best of 7s all the way through. Do not count yourself out before it's over. And right now, Envy are looking to go ahead and take the first one of this set. They're finding the first pick just about every round. And again, I haven't learned much about Fernando though this game. I will say.
Yeah,
that.
I haven't learned much either. It just seems like maybe it's because envy, or maybe it's because of things like that. The double kill right away. They both explode under the pressure. The heat is too intense, but you put Drogos and Fernando on the same team. I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, it's definitely a good look for them. It's an easy way to get that ultimate off. I mean, Dragon Punch, you saw Pain in the first set. He was struggling to land that bad boy. Seismic Crash is going to try to rip this fight back in Navi's favor. A lot of healing. Look at the Formidable, boys.
I know, man.
He's popping off.
He really is. And now he's getting that Grover passive healing. That in combination with Grover is extremely strong. Usually those 1v1s with Damba are a little harder to take, but Rock Monkey makes light work of Spunky in the back line. And that is all she wrote there, ladies and gentlemen. Team Envy grab game number 1, 4-0.
Kind of the same story for Toki. Traveled here kind of late last night, but it's on the faces of Zerini right now.
It really is.
Push his chair back, little of the lips, like, oh, man, it's not easy, kid. I don't know what you were expecting today, but
No.
you got what you signed up for.
He's not a happy camper. And to be honest, I don't know if he's going to be this set. Envy just looked really dang good. Let's send it back to the desk.
Well, there is a lot that they need to learn on the side of Na'Vi based on Game 1 going into Game 2 that they need to change it up. But admittedly, there was a lot of things that were just Envy doing Envy things. They had the Shaolin and Rock Monkey made that look good. They had the Drogos and Random Noob makes that look good.
Yeah, the two question marks that we had kind of going into that game were the Shaolin and the Fernando, just how they would work. I mean, obviously in the hands of these players, they're going to do well. Fernando, I think Nick said it best. We didn't really learn.
I literally was
much
like,
about
he
Fernando.
fit well, but like that was really everyone else, not him.
He was a tank, and he did what tanks do. He stayed alive, which is good. But the Shaolin, I think, had a huge impact. Random Noob, amazing on the Drogos, but specifically towards that kind of Shaolin-y question mark, I think Rock Monkey made it work. And that's an understatement. I think that was a driving force in the win here.
And one of the big columns I actually think that matters most, obviously we always look at the damage they did, the healing numbers for the healers, but if you looked at the streak there for Mr. Hayes, it was at a 20. He did not die a lot. 2, 3, and 35.
That's casual.
He was just chilling and healing the entire time. Obviously, the 16-2 looks really good from Rock Monkey. The 13-2 look really good from Random Noob. But you always have to have those unsung heroes. Rubu being as aggressive as he was, Talkie playing the point take Fernando the way he did. This team, I mean, there's not even like it was a one-player show, right? Rock Monkey did really well because he had a healer that never died and front lines that were giving him so much room.
And I think he's off his game, Rock Monkey, because I saw him miss an arrow in this replay.
There's at least one arrow
in that triple kill
Some
clip.
say it's still flying to the sky.
It's soaring just somewhere into the sun. No, but time and time again, I mean, you could really start a highlight reel with the amount of plays that he made on this Shaolin at the moment, and that's something to look forward to in the next games, in that you can ban away the Leon, you can take away my Cassie. I'll just go play Shaolin, and I'm going to do just as well. I'm going to have a 10 KDA and 85,000 damage, and I think that's something to take away from this as well, as he has a huge champion pool.
Just showing, I guess, the proof of concept that you can't ban them out. And I think that's just the case of everybody on Envy. Like, every single one of them has at least 3 champions that I could name off that they all play. And then it's like, okay, well, if you're wasting, you have 2 bans, and there's at least 15 champions you have to get rid of to make them start feeling maybe slightly uncomfortable. There's literally not enough room for you to do that.
No, there's not. And I think you also have to look kind of at the flip side with Na'Vi, in that with the sub and them kind of flipping the roles that they've been playing, I think that played a lot into it. They just looked kind of uncomfortable, a bit on the back foot throughout that game. I mean, needless to say, it was a 4-1, so obviously on the back foot, but I think that plays a lot into it. I think that maybe as this set goes on, you can see Spirit's still high, still kind of smiling and laughing. I think they'll find their groove a little bit more as this set goes on.
Well, this is going to be the map, I think, that it's not going to determine everything. Obviously, we saw the Knights go down to at first, but this is going to set the pace, I think, for Na'Vi. We're going to Jaguar Falls for it, and this is something that I've been thinking about all week. When I looked at the schedule, Na'Vi are playing 2 games this week.
Right.
And no matter what, they're playing, or 2 sets, and each set, they're going to have that sub. They're going to have Zerini in instead of Mutu. And the second set, the one that's happening tomorrow, I was like, well, the 4 players on Na'Vi that are the staple, I guess, that are here without the sub are so good that most teams are still going to be hard-pressed to beat them.
No, I agree.
But when it comes to this matchup, they have to prove that those 4 players plus Zarini are going to be better than the current reigning world champ, right? They have to be able to do something that even their full roster was not able to do in November last year.
No, and that's, I think, the best way of looking at it is the last time they both met at full strength, they went to a Game 7, and most of the maps, except for the last one, went somewhere close to the distance. And I think that's definitely the best way of looking at it is full strength. These teams are eye to eye. Yeah. Would Mutu have changed that 4-1 into a win of their own? I don't know. I mean, nobody can really say. What we do know is at the moment, Na'Vi are on the back foot. The Makoa looking to change that, though.
I was going to say, if you're looking at a way to potentially swing things in your favor, I can't think of a better one to do it than Makoa on Jaguar Falls. One of the things you don't have to worry about as much is snipers. So I guess a Drogo's first pick for Envy is not too unwielding as a pick.
And it's unfortunate, I think, on the side of Na'Vi that they follow it with the Leon. I mean, Cassie's still around. Wouldn't be surprised to see Na'Vi go that direction. But yeah, the Drogos into the Leon is it's a statement move there by NV, and they're saying, we'll show you what our damage dealers are. You guys can, you can take the Makoa, you can take that, but really strong, and I really like the Drogos Leon first couple picks here.
And I mean, again, being able to put out the Drogos out there, not have to worry about too many of the counters. Not many people are going to pull out a Kinessa or a Strix on Jaguar Falls, especially at this level, because you will get punished heavily for it. Drogos, more than likely, going to be able to kind of hover in the air. Not completely scot-free, but with a lot of people looking at them, they go ahead, grab the Maldamba. Pretty much, if you had to just draw Spunky as a champion, it would just be Maldamba, and then Barrack being picked up. So, frontline core coming down from Na'Vi, whereas the damage core has already been established from Envy.
And to establish a little more frontline on the side of Envy, they go back to the Fernando. Again, I mean, it's less of a question mark in that it obviously worked last game, but still finding where it fits in, I think, as far as the tier list of these frontliners go, is still kind of where we're looking to see it. Not surprised to see him go back with what worked in the last game. Tulki made it look really good, made the Fernando work, and I think not surprised to see him coming out. The Tyra Bomb King being hovered, that'd be one way to deal with the Drogos.
Not surprised to see Tyra with Phoenix in the game.
No, not
that
surprised.
is his favorite champion. There's my favorite pictures from not HRX at DreamHack, but the one previously, HRX 2018, where Na'Vi won. We had a test where we were putting up names and icons for all the champions, and it was 5 Tyras on a board, and every single one of them said Phoenix.
And it makes sense.
It makes sense.
He's okay at Tyra. He's a casual Tyra player.
He's all right.
No, but I think that's one good way to deal with the Drogos. Cassie not making her way into this game, but the Tyra, the hit scan, that's going to put a lot of pressure on the Drogos and make him choose his engagements properly.
And we've said it in the past, one of Bomb King's favorite maps to be on, but Na'Vi are still down the first map. They have a lot to prove. They have a draft that can do it, but you're going up against the Drogos Leon of Random Noob and Rock Monkey. So Nick, Evan, tell us exactly how this game's going to shake out.
Well,
right
I would.
now.
Yeah.
How's it? What?
What?
What's happening?
No, I don't know. It's shaking and baking.
But what's coming out?
It looks like a scoreboard, but I'm not.
But you're not wrong.
I'm not sure. We haven't seen all of it. The scoreboard is crowning.
Kind of the same composition here again. They're going to be having the Ceres this time around. Rock will be playing Little Miss Leon. I like the switch, though, from Phoenix onto the Hunting Party Tyra.
Well, still warm jets for Random Noob. We'll see if it makes an adjustment. You could change these talents right until you leave the base. Then they are locked for the entirety of the game. So he will stay worm jet. So up in the air, that's where he wants to be. Phoenix back on the Tyra. Doing it. Before, we've been seeing a lot of Watkins do it in the PML. And really made a namesake on this champion for him.
Great tank shred, obviously. Hunting Party gives that damage amp. Anytime you see that little angle, that little arrow over a target's head, everyone on the Na'Vi squad is going to be doing extra damage. My goodness, though. Running a lot of HP, almost 2,600, and he needed damn near all of it to stay alive there.
Yeah, and the Firebomb just to keep their tank alive. I think at this point, this is a bit of a question mark for them. How Zarini's going to fit, what tank is going to work well for him. Lazy on the Barrack is doing his thing, though. 39% and counting. They did find an early kill onto Rock, so Team MP will back off and cede Natus Vincere the point for now.
Random's playing interesting angles. He didn't really float over the point there. He floated over that little dark room basically the whole time, and now Fernando getting pinched out here. Just simply no way to defend from that many angles. Creatives will be credited with both first and second blood.
I don't think he wants to get the hunting mark. He's going to maybe get it now, but I think he's trying to avoid that as well. Really good stun. Na'Vi win this point fight, no problem. Zarini clearly playing the aggressive tanks for these for Na'Vi, and Lazy staying on the point tank role. The Makoas look so much better on him. Misses the hook
He's
there.
coming in. My goodness. That's how Makoa's play though, boys. W key it down mid. Zarini, confident play against Team Envy. You can't say he's looking a little shy today.
No, and I like it, and I think that's what you need. You take a bad loss, you immediately get right back up, and you try to punch as hard as you can again. This is a good effort from them. Random Noob has the chance to Dragon Punch here, but they're waiting on the call. He can stay up in the air for so long thanks to Worm Jets and the build that he's running. Going for Zarini. He may find Lazy.
Wow,
He's getting Phoenix instead. And unfortunately, Lazy's going to clean him up. I think that was the turrets, Nick. Both of them target him in that moment.
I mean, that's why we talk about Dragon Punch being so hard to land. He's getting pumped by Saris. No cauterize as he's flying in, and he still dies. He eats the entire crossfire to the chin, and he still goes down.
And here's the Immortal that you almost wanted to have during that Dragon Punch. But staggering this is going to keep another member alive, at least for now. 700 health, almost gets taken down. Phoenix is really, really applying the pressure. This Hunter's Mark as well is making Creatives hit so hard on the BK. And that's something you do not need if you know Creatives bombing.
It's almost to the level that Torvald can provide, and that's they both had
11-25?
It hurts, man. It is tough stuff to deal with. They both had angles on that front liner. That's why you saw Fernando just melt.
I don't know about this. I don't know about this. This is just so good from Na'Vi. They say we don't have Mutu, but maybe it's not a problem. Envy are crumbling. 11-25, a bomb. And Creatives is on an 11 streak.
Playing around Hunting Party at this level is just, it hasn't happened yet. We haven't seen people coordinate. And just after what I saw the very first set, I think we might see more of it. Just the level of coordination and team play, especially from NIP there in the first set, was insane. And they're not going to even really compare, right, to Team Envy and Na'Vi. These are the world finalists. Like, if they're stepping up that much, what the hell are we going to see from Envy and Na'Vi down the stretch?
The Saris as well, providing some healing, but even then, still dying against the pressure of Na'Vi with that hunting mark on the side of the damage dealers who step too far out of line. Tolkien not having the same game he had before where he's undying. Many deaths on the side of Team Envy. 3 for both frontliners, respectively. 0 kills, which is different than the 5 kills that... Oh, my, never mind. Rock Monkey says, let's start this fight differently. He even cut me off.
That's tough, bro. Tough stuff. There's salvo and a presence. It has to be. That's the only way you could blow up a Bomb King that fast.
Holy moly.
And to blow up a bomb, what a paradox.
There it is. And he explodes. When he does that, he doesn't require a reload, though. He just has to reset.
Okay.
Nice Dread Serpent into 2, but they don't have the follow-up yet. Creatives is just behind, but he's still going to find Rubu there with the help of Zarini. Here is the convergence, and is it going to get anyone? Yes, they're going to find 2. Mr. Hayes even picks up Zarini himself.
Rock took him to town there. The presence immediately into the enlightenment. No hesitation here. Envy do not want to lose this fight. Lazy's going to go right through him, though. Little bowling ball Barrack. I don't know how he's just chunking his way through this fight. Lazy has played this very, very nicely.
Spunky's still here, so Lazy is fine. I mean, this is the one healer you can really count on, man. He's proved it at the grandest stage of all of Paladins. So 99% and counting, unless Random Noob wants to touch down onto the ground. Nope, too late. Zarini cleans him up. Natus Vincere looking real good.
Man, oh man, fast cap for Envy as well, and they still couldn't get it done. Ash ultimate is ready. The perfect ultimate to take this one. Back out of the sky, Zarini! Zarini, the substitute, is popping!
And look at this. Tolkien, he needs to have his ult, but it's not charged up yet. 98%, and he goes down. That would have bought so much time. Another heal from Mr. Hayes, but Natus Vincere step on the throats of Envy, and it's 3-0.
Let's go, baby. Zarini getting this money today. I like it.
Wonderful.
Showing up, big pick. Big player, he's got to fill these shoes. You can't have a non-impactful Makoa pick. It just cannot work for you. Random Noob picks one there onto Phoenix. And looking at this composition a little bit more, you know, Random Noob's playing relatively safe. Rock Monkey's playing pretty far in the back line. maybe just a little bit of disconnect between them and the frontliners. Normally, Rubu and Tolki, they like to get in the faces of their opponents.
Right.
And if Rubu or Rock and Random can't really be there as quickly or as close proximity on these champions, that might be what's slowing Envy down a little bit.
I think, again, and this is where you start to look at it, they don't have the threat to kill on Fernando the same way Makoa and even Barrick do have now. And that's why Tolki is even in the Inara, a little bit easier cleanup, in my opinion. We saw him get that quadra kill at Worlds. He's got that quick 675 burst if he has to have it with the pellets. Fernando's just not playing that way right now, and so it is hurting them. They don't have anyone who could really create the space offensively. A minute 18 now, as Na'Vi are 50% of the way, looking to push and tie this set up.
They have a pretty scary suite of ultimates as well. I would say the strongest ult, for my money, on Team Envy is Assert Dominance, which could be Dread Serpented, which could be Hooked, all of which we just saw on the point fight there. Yep. So Na'Vi, if they play these fights well with all of their resources, they have a lot of ways to win.
And Spunky is right where you need him, isn't he? This man should start his own insurance company. He throws the Dread Serpent right at the perfect time. Spunky is there. And he certainly is living up to the jingle. Tolki throws the shield up, but as the Wrecker starts to go, the crossfire hits, the hook confirms it. The hunting party finds the hunted. Tyra's going to have a new coat after this. And I don't know if it'll be purchasable in game, but she's earned it, that's for sure. I think Na'Vi are going to 4-0 here.
I think she might actually be running the Drakefire skin right now. So a word of warning to the wise, Drogos. You're looking like you're ready to be 4-0'd. Spunky's got the Dread Serpent in hand. Just as easily as Envy do it in Game 1, Na'Vi fight back in Game 2.
Now that's exactly what you need. Zarini, Na'Vi, all smiles. It's been a questionable road to get here. Mutu not available. Phoenix just barely getting his A-OK to travel. And now Envy looking a little shook. And for good reason.
Yeah, I mean, that's a huge game for so many reasons. Specifically around like the one highest contested fight was that point fight, and it's also Zarini that pops off, and they get him on a power pick. Na'Vi, they put all of their trust in him. He performs, so now he's believing in himself, and now this Na'Vi team is a completely new beast.
Was it the Makoa? Was it the Ruckus? Is it the second game and just getting your first game jitters out of the way? Na'Vi have changed something, and that looks dangerous heading up against Envy coming up soon.
Well, just like they said, as fast as Game 1 was, Game 2 actually ended up even being faster than what they were able to pull out. There was so much good that happened there for Na'Vi, and the first mark I have written down is just that the first round was nearly deathless. They only had 2.
They had 2 deaths, both on Phoenix in that first. Yeah, I know, just feeding the game horribly. But it was one was a Dragon Punch, so can't really avoid that as a Tyra. And the other one, I think, was just through the regular run of play. But Na'Vi completely flip what we saw in Game 1 just onto its head. I mean, it was a 4-1 on Bright Marsh. This is a 4-0. And one of the guys who was making big plays was Zarini. He was kind of Na'Vi's not at full strength. They have Zarini, who's a good player, but, he's not Mutu. And you saw him there on the Makoa doing huge things.
And it's one thing, I'd say, to be in this scenario and as Zarini and just be okay, right? You just fill the role. You're playing it, and you're not doing bad, you're not doing great. What he did this game, and the one that caught my eye, was when he hooked Rubu out of the air.
Yeah.
That's when you're like, this guy, there's a reason he was here. There's a reason he was chosen as the sub over the other players in the PML in Europe, the other players who might not have been able to make it. He was able to perform at a level, I think, that it fit exactly what Na'Vi had, and that was the showcase of what they can do, even though they don't have Mutu.
Right, no, and filling the role, and I think looking at the Makoa as well, that's something that we touched on with Fernando, and I think Evan touched on this in game as well, but Fernando just doesn't have the same potential for huge plays like Zarini did on this Makoa. I'm sure we'll see the Ash hook here. Oh, she was so close to the ground, too. I mean, and then obviously the second time she jumps up, she doesn't have enough health to get it off. And then the Ancient Raid, I mean, you can see here, he's playing confident. I mean, he's like, yeah, I belong here. I mean, there's nothing, getting hype, loving every minute of it. And he filled in a big way that time.
And, I mean, just being able to come in, take that role, and again, be put, on down a game. You have that first game, and I would say maybe not any other team. Most of the
Right.
Premier League teams can take a loss and just brush it off. But if you're, in the minor league, let's say, even if you're Sour Team there and he's with the people he's comfortable with, you take a loss as hard as that map 1 was, and you're not feeling confident coming into game 2. You don't know what to think. You're not
Right.
sure what's going on. But the thing that's great about both of these teams, and the thing that I think is good to note about Envy as well as Na'Vi, is they love the competition.
Right.
This is what they
Absolutely.
live for.
Absolutely.
Losing a game, as much as it sucks, is probably one of the best things they could have happen, because they're like, cool, that means the set's going to go a little longer for us.
And you could see there on the face cams, nobody was worried in the Envy booth. I mean, they were smiling. I mean, they were cool, calm, and collected. I mean, we 4-1 you 4-0. I mean, it's going to be a long set.
Yeah.
They say, all right, game on. Let's do this. And Frog Isle is going to be the game on type of map. 2 for 2 today for my map. Frog Isle, I'm happy about it.
Being able to come through, Bright Marsh, Jag Falls, Frog Isle, Serpent Beach still available as one that they could go to in the future. The only one of the 5 standards, as I've been calling them, is Stone Keep, that's been banned away by Na'Vi. But Frog Isle, I mean, we saw some of the few niche things about this map. Specifically, earlier we saw what can happen if you have a Drogos on one side and a
Yep.
sniper on one side with no pressure on said sniper. So do you think both of them are going to get banned away, or are we going to have a Kinessa Strix matchup?
I don't know. It's tough in that the bans from that first map kind of sway me from thinking either of them will ban out either of the sniper. I to give you a concise answer, I think it'll be Kinessa Strix. But, obviously the teams are going to have to show us what they choose to do. The front line, I kind of sway that way because of the front line heavy bans at the moment. I figure it's just one of those things where this is such a strong map for both of those champions that if they're not banned out, it just makes too much sense to pick them. Obviously, they could throw us through a loop here, throw us a little wild card, but would not be surprised to see a little Kinessa Strix back and forth action in this one.
Well, 4 front lines, Makoa Khan from Na'Vi, Ash Torvald from Envy being taken off the board. My eyes are on the snipers, Leon Cassie as well in that list, I'd say, is for generic just hitting DPS.
Sure.
And then maybe add in a Bomb King for either side. We just saw what creatives can do with it. Again, that was on a good map for him. This is not a bad map by any means for the King. And both players, both teams have one random noob as well as creatives love playing him. The question is whether or not they want to bring him out. So far, it's just Grover hovering over the Inara for Lazy here for Na'Vi. Pretty solid starts.
Definitely solid starts. And compared to how it's been in previous drafts, I mean, the offensive pressure is so wide open at the moment. Like, in game number 1, there was a Leon banned away, and then some early offensive picks. In the last game, it was all frontline bans, and then like a Drogos, Leon back-to-back. I mean, in this one, it's literally only frontliners and healers being taken off the board. So neither team, at least at the moment, showing their hand from an offensive standpoint, but that could also be a, hey, we know you're going to pick one of the snipers. You know we're going to pick one of the snipers. We're going to get the other high-priority targets in the meantime.
Well, I'll say with Atlas not being available for these teams, since he's still very, very, very fresh, just yesterday released, you're looking at 6 front lines on your screen of, I believe, the 8 frontline pool.
Right.
So if Envy want to run 2 of them, they are going to have to grab those final 2. And I actually believe, I'm not sure how many they can play as well as they would feel. Fernando's been on the list. He won 1. He lost 1. Is he going to be able to make that difference? I think that's still yet to be seen.
I don't think he's going to be I think he's at least right now, and I'd be happy to be proven wrong, but I think at the moment he's a benefactor of just how the game is going. Like, he won game 1, not necessarily because Fernando made the difference, but because Envy were just steamrolling Na'Vi, and then he didn't really have the presence, he didn't really have the utility in game number 2 to make a difference there either. So I think he's a fine champion to kind of fill that point tank role, but I don't think he's necessarily a difference maker in the literal sense.
Well, we have Kinessa on one side, probably for Rock Monkey.
Right.
And we have Na'Vi on the other side. Normally, I would say this is going to go to Mutu. But of course, with Mutu not here, do you think we're going to see that as big of a threat, I guess, as it could be? The Strix, is it going to pressure out this Kinessa as much, considering Rock Monkey's on the other side?
No is the generic answer. I mean, there will still be pressure, but not in the hands of Mutu. Anyone is going to be less pressure, I think, than Mutu can put on. I mean, all these guys have quick aim. They're all fast. They're very precise. So, I mean, the threat is still certainly there, and it always will be there. But on the opposite side, I think you got to be careful if you're Strix Tyra, the Drogoz really being the only kind of flanky type champion in this game. I think that's really what you got to watch out for here.
Well, both drafts are in. Tyra locking down the last one for Na'Vi. Who are you feeling a little bit better for?
I like the Envy lineup. I think the Drogoz throws a little bit of a wrench in the mix here, so at least initially I give it to them.
Well, earlier we saw Drogoz fall against a Strix. Now he has Strix Tyra to deal with. Tyra, not also a very usual
That's
pick
true.
for Frog Isle, so I'm interested to see how this one's going to shake down. Na'Vi have shown that they can do it. Envy have shown that they can do it. We're tied at 1-1. Frog Isle is going to be the one that sets someone ahead in the set. And it's going to just come down very simply to, I'm looking at these sniper shots, and I'm looking at whether or not this Drogoz can perform. So, Evan, Nick, take us to the aisle.
Gore, Dave, thank you. Thank you. We're going to the aisle. We're having fun. Walking down the aisle.
Hell yeah.
I know it was a surprise. But
we're going to get married.
we're getting married today.
And unless Watkins done it, I don't think I've ever seen it done. Like the Tyra on Frog Isle, that is not.
Yeah, it's not usual.
It's not, but it worked well.
And it's going to help creatives a lot. It really is. It's going to help creatives a lot because Trix just loses a little bit of that damage battle with Rock Monkey if you're going shot for shot. And Random Noob baiting out with the Worm Jets here. I was wondering if he was going to do that or go Combustible. He will go to Combustible. And Rock will most likely get the first shot here. Kinessa can transport and elevate herself amongst the battlefield.
Ooh. A game of leapfrog, if you will. And
Frogger.
Funny little angles to be played here. That's what really balances Frog Isle on an edge. Phoenix behind the pillar. Spunky needs to get back there as well. So far, no misses.
Steady aim. Oh my god, this is really paying off. This is exactly what you want from steady aim. Oh! Peek! Peek! And you get 6 feet deep!
Peek me, boy.
Oh, again! Stop it! Oh. This is just, you know why they won the fight. That's all. No commentary needed. No analysis. And it's 30% now for Team Envy. You don't need it. You saw on the screen, that's what it was.
So looking forward to the next fight. I think if you don't do that, you'll be in a better position.
Right. And the thing is, they just feel like they have a lot. Oh my god,
what
they
do you
just
mean?
have so much. It was the missiles, man. No fall off. It's so strong.
And the fire spit just to make him available too.
Wonderful.
Oh, it's just poetry.
Envy are absolutely outplaying Na'Vi here. They don't seem to understand how to get to the back line. And Rock Monkey is one of those guys you cannot give this space to. Some other snipers you can kind of test.
What?
Not
How did he
here.
die? How did creatives die? He
Oh.
self-damaged himself somehow. Rock's looking through the old eyebrows, and we all know what happens.
Look at that. He's
when he
mad.
gets to that spot.
He ain't happy, dude. Envy do not want to lose this set because you were right, Nick. The big conversation is that if Envy lost, it would be more of a surprise. Na'Vi with a sub beat Envy. I mean, that would be very, very surprising. And Envy know that now, that second game was way too easy. They need to step something up.
For sure. I don't know how much time they've had to scrim with Zerini. It is still 4 great players, but I really thought they were just going to stick Zerini on the point and forget about him, but it's just not what he's doing. And from the underworld, Random Noob tried to bring that fight back, but can't quite land the punch.
At least he stays alive because he was knocked off. And that Dragon Punch was more just to live and maybe get a kill. And at least he lived, so the kill still can be gotten. It's one of those things about a Dragon Punch. Sometimes better to call off and then just do the subsequent damage that you'll see him do if he ever hits another rocket.
Coming back on up. This fire spit might connect onto somebody.
Turrets.
Easy for Random.
Easy for Random.
Turret damage is good damage. The less turrets, the better. Fire spit up over the top. Little Hexafire action coming out on a lazy, but it's the one advantage Bearcat.
He's so short. You can't hit him. That's the benefit of being short, ladies and gentlemen. You're close to the ground. You get blocked away from damage from many different angles. than the tall champions. Mr. Hazy's going to finally fall. Phoenix settles on that. Envy with this lineup do want to win a little earlier. Grover tends to fall off more so than some of the other healers because his healing is so substantial that Cauterize 3 really starts to do a number on him.
Man, it's just relevant damage at this point. Hunting Party, and I never got to give it, but like Lazy was actually hitting a significant amount of shots onto that Drogoz in the sky as well. Being damage amped, it's going to hurt Random Noob. It's going to be taking almost a quarter of his life at sometimes. So it's not an easy amount of damage to take. Lazy's damage cannot be forgotten about. Zarini's sort of suicide pushing onto this Kinessa, but she had Transporter, so it's not going to equate too much.
So I think this is a smart... Oh, they got the kill. Okay. I was going to say, it's probably a smart play to maybe even leave Lazy back there. Yeah, because, I mean, how's he going to get back? He's got to walk, and you can just slowly kill him.
Oh, man. Last 7 seconds, though, and a long way to go for Envy here. I don't know.
Yes and no,
if they're gonna
right?
get this one. Yeah, I guess it is about like a team fight and a half.
Because it's just Frog Isle such a short map. You know, you go from 50% to 100% in about
true.
8 seconds. So if they can just clear out the Inara, this is just not where they wanted to be. Creatives with a unique move. Just goes a little higher and a little farther up than they would have expected. Now he's in the Random Noob territory. But with Phoenix getting another kill, this is most likely just going to be Envy calling it.
Yeah. I mean,
no ults
Rock
wasted.
got hit by the people's elbow there. Strix just pushed up and didn't miss a shot. And you could tell Rock wasn't even really like looking at him. He was kind of looking like, up over his head. There's the initial snipe there. Incredible stuff. And again, the fire spits help set up some really, really cool kills. That's just a big damage headshot right there.
And one of the hard things about it is that he knew, I believe he knew where he was. Unless he's not running. So he's not running any of that reveal.
Yeah, open season 1.
Oh, he just got one. I just don't know if it was... I was expecting more because I felt like Spunky maybe
Wait,
waited
it's
for
different.
longer
They
than a
reworked
second.
it. Hitting a shot with an enemy restores one ammo
See,
now.
yeah, you're right. So that's
Dude,
not
rip
a thing
open
anymore.
season.
I know. So he just was literally waiting, man. He had no idea, no cue, just waiting. I mean, the timing on that was so superb. Not an easy thing to do. And that's why he is who he is. That's why he wishes there was 2 MVP trophies at the World Championships. He's really proud of Rubu, but wishes there was 2, and you can see why.
And it's not Eagle Eye, but it's close. Fully charged, steady aim, proc headshot does a ton of damage, and then that Kinessa just, she doesn't have the bolt action. That quick little 300-400 damage follow-up shot is all you need.
And you know what's so good about this lineup too, Nick? The way Envy are playing it, usually you rely on the Drogoz to kind of, you know, really put people at 50% health and have someone else clean them up, but Random's actually the one cleaning up a lot of Rock Monkey's damage. Rock Monkey's putting people super low, and then Combustible's just throwing them all over the map and basically finishing them off.
Nice shot there from Creatives as well. Just to shift the tide slightly back into their favor, Rubu will grab one. Almost
Oh,
two!
he's gone, mate. He's gone. Spunky sent him to the depths.
That's toxic, Spunky.
That was toxic, but beautiful just EU Dread Serpents on Frog Isle.
The Navi skin as well. Navi skin looks really good on you, Spunk. Gotta say it. New jerseys as well. Navi are looking fresh today.
And 84% and counting. They are battling back. Every punch that's been thrown at them, they are throwing one back. And now the flashbang, and he needs to get Spunky. He sees him. Oh my God, this man does not miss. And
Jesus Christ.
now Spunky and Phoenix all know the myth, the legend. A lot of respect across both these teams, but man, when it keeps happening to you in game, it just sometimes feels surreal. Like, what do we have to do?
I don't think you can do anything. It's one of those days right now. If you let him off the leash, you know, bad things are sure to follow. Team Envy, with some theatrics from Rock Monkey behind the scope, managed to bring this one back, put themselves in a situation here. He says he hates when his team is doing well, and he's just kind of doing average. He wants to get rolled together, but right now, Rock Monkey is the spearhead to the tune of 12-1.
How do they feel when he's doing this and they're doing average? That's kind of what I want to know.
Most people are happy to be in the backpack, but not Rock.
Not Rock, man. Tolkien consistent with the Fernando 3 games in a row. Here's the Dragon Punch. A lot of damage. And at this point, he just wants to stay alive. Yeah, that's the best thing
I don't
to do.
know what hit him, but he took half his health before he actually like took off there.
Yeah, Lazy's hitting his shots too, man.
Dancing in the trees, turrets are set up. That might be good.
Look at that movement, the DI.
Big stuff.
Big Smash Bros. Player there.
Meets the same fate. Headhunter's charged again. Phoenix is close. Marks him up. Rock just backs up.
And this is a dangerous spot. I think Phoenix is going down soon. And Random Noob cleans him up. I thought it would be Rock. But playing in exposed areas on Frog Isle with the sniper, it's just going to end in your death.
Paul is getting in there today. Normally, Combustible Drogos has had a reputation for playing very passive on Frog Isle, but you're right, the role reversal today. Paulie has been all up in the grill of Na'Vi, landing these fire spits up over the wall. Maybe just trying to stay in range for pop-off Dragon Punches as well. I don't know, but he has changed the game on Drogos.
Rock almost, I feel like that transporter might have gone off the map too, so it's probably better he died right there, just in case. That would have been a funny clip to be included in our meme videos. Rubu getting some damage off. This man's known for his ruckus play. And Zerini looking to step there. I'm sure he has a wall available, or at least he's got Spunky saying he got the go-ahead. But here's the Dragon Punch. Nothing's going to stop that. Can Random Noob make it out? He can! Creative strategy to pursue, but Rubu is right there, the bodyguard that he needed. And if he gets it out too, oh no, this could be it. The push could be going through. Random Noob knocks Lazy off with a combustible fire spit.
The amount of value from that Immortal was just colossal. That is a new record for damage mitigated there. They do so much with it. Creatives thought he was safe. Ruckus pushes up low HP. They get a Dragon Punch off. Envy are showing us that Immortal might be the key to why you pick up Fernando this season.
And again, pairing it with the Drogos, feeling super confident about that. I don't think he dropped below, or maybe 45%. Excuse me, the cooldown isn't ready for Formidable. I think Tolki will have it soon in this fight. And along with that, he's got the Grover healing. It's just going to be so hard to push down. And Envy are going to run this through 3-1.
I mean, it's not... Drogos and Fernando, not unviable, but certainly have been underwhelming so far. And it's only when paired together, like wine and cheese, Envy have shown us that this combination can do really kind of crazy things. Again, with a play style shift as well. Noob is playing this very, very differently than a lot of other Drogos players have been trying to go. You saw Payan in the earlier set. He was just very, very passive, kind of sitting behind his wall, doing the old school style, but once accused of being a one-trick Drogos, it's only right that he would be the guy to sort of change the game and lead the way now in the character.
There's so much that goes into these sets, and as great players, you know, it can be harder to take some of these L's as well, and the capacity mentally to get over, you know, 4-0ing and then immediately getting 3-1 to 4-0 or owned. You know, it takes a lot of respect for your opponent, and it takes a lot of focus to be able to still stay
That might be a kill.
in the zone. He got him! He got him! Phoenix is off the map! Oh my goodness, Random Noob!
I mean, it's the salvo predicting, you know, 3 years in advance there's going to be a player here, and I know that I'm going to be able to hit this. Dome Shield's going to bring it back in favor of Na'Vi, and the fast cap is rolling.
Yeah, that would have been a disastrous fire spit to have hit all of Na'Vi there. Lazy's going to use one of his dashes, and the Dragon Punch will be ready. There's not a lot to stop it. But Na'Vi, they grab the point anyways. They just wait, and it pays off. That was a great reaction to a very bad start to that fight from Na'Vi.
They just stayed hunkered down. Na'Vi did not give up an inch. And it's an interesting conversation about how, like, when you do lose somebody, the fight isn't really over until you start to seed the map, until you stop fighting in that fight. The 4v5 doesn't start to feel like a 4v5 until you make it so.
And it almost felt like maybe the wrong call was made there, because I don't know what happened. I don't know how Envy got so pushed back. I mean, they get Phoenix, and unless someone maybe overcommits, overdives, that Dome Shield just gets so much value. There's not even a chance for them to step onto the point.
Big fireball to the back line. Remember that Scorch doesn't do as much damage up front, but now does more scaling. So those multi-man fireballs are actually more potent than they once were, and this is Formidable, so I don't know why I'm bringing that up right now.
But it is a good point.
It looked like she got shot for so much damage, and all I saw was a fireball. But
could have been
a snipe and a fireball at the same time.
And that's the thing that's making Envy's lineup so good. They have these three like crazy threats, and like, you know, a fireball does damage. It's meaningful. It's not as meaningful as it was before, but that plus combustible fire spit plus a shot from Rock Monkey, an axe from Grover, like all that hits you at the same time. You don't know why, but you're dead, and you're looking at your scoreboard.
It still happens. Disappointed T-screen is a rough one for sure. 59 seconds. Whirlwind just to top off Fernando as they start to back off. Remember, Whirlwind is a very, very fast charging ability, so being liberal with its use is not a bad thing. Already back to 25%. Rocking and rolling here. Marked up and ready for the slaughter, though Na'Vi are starting to make their move.
Let's take a look at some of the, good Dread Serpent as well. I'm not sure if much is going to happen here. Remember, this is the defense, so although they may get a couple of kills, it would be more... actually, no, this is the offense here. So they're pushing this through.
It's easy to get confused.
I really thought that how far they were aggressed, man.
It's happened a couple of times today. I mean, on Ice Mines it happened with Ninjas in Pajamas. I believe it happened once on Frozen Guard.
Yeah.
The way these teams are playing so much together and rotating together, you'll not only forget that, but you'll forget whose side is whose. And it's like you really got to like pay attention now because these guys will merry-go-round on some of these maps that have more room to do so. Frog Isle's not necessarily one where you'll get on the enemy side and they'll get on yours. But you got to watch out for those types of things today.
Yeah, the 3-2 with the red push going for the red team, but the team who's in red has 2 points, not 3. That always throws me, man. I remember the beginning of Paladins casting. That has thrown me from day one, and I have to actively think about it. A lot of deaths here. Na'Vi, they're trying to tie this thing up so there should be no confusion about who's who or where is where. These guys, man, they are hitting one haymaker after another. And,
you know, it's not sleeping on each other, but this is a big story for Na'Vi. If they're able to win, much less, I mean, if they can get to, 6-7 games, in my mind, that's impressive. I thought this might be one of our only 4-0 sets today. I thought now Envy were going to come in, and they were just going to do what they do.
Right. I was looking at that play, too. I don't know what happened still. I mean, I think it was clearly the Dome Shield that shifted the tide.
Yeah.
But Tolkien got really low really quickly. I'll say that. Maybe it forced Mr. Hayes into the fight. There's Rubu.
Can't remember if he had punch up or not. Maybe you could have punched Lazy out of the shield, but Lazy was just very, very quick to say, like, we lost Phoenix, but I'm dome shielding, so they don't have anything to push into. 18-7, 15, I think 5 that was for Rock Monkey here. Big numbers coming up on the slash lines. 15-3 for Rock Monkey, and early punch this time around.
And here's the, you said, take Sereni out, and that's been their big problem. Creatives, can't quite get him. You know he was looking for the shot, and now Random Noob has some potential. He's going to go over the top, try to line that one up. Should hit.
Come
on,
dude.
He's going to get Phoenix in the back line. Creatives, though, has him spotted out. If he sneaks back, it could be a shot, but where's Rock Monkey here throughout the process of it all? Still scoping. 69% for Team Envy.
Headhunter's ready. Na'Vi have a ton of stuff to work with here. Hexafire Headhunter versus the Dome Shield, and a lot of fury from Na'Vi. They're starting to pop it all.
And he actually has missed a couple of shots. Oh, he finds him
Give me a
through
break.
the woods.
Give me a break.
What a shot from Rock Monkey. Threading the needle there, 72% and counting for Team Envy, but Natus Vincere have not given up. This could be that moment where they think all is won, but Lazy and Na'Vi steal the show. Creatives with a shot on a Random Noob. Nick, 93% for Na'Vi. Are they going to go ahead here?
Actually nuts from Lazy. Forces that Drogoz up in the air, takes him down. Fernando's running out of HP. Envy are running out of time. They're running out of ults. Headhunter's been popped. Everything has been popped. Whirlwind's close. Evan Whirlwind could save this fight.
You have to kill Spunky here, and I don't think they can. Na'Vi, they're going to take game number 3, and they're going to go ahead in the set against Envy.
Dude, I don't know about this. This is a wild turn of events here for Na'Vi. After that first game, the ability to bounce back like that. And again, that's why we bring it back to game number 2. Zarini gets a power pick, has an incredible performance, and probably the best play and the most important fight of that game. So now he's feeling so good about himself that all of Na'Vi can start to play as a unit again.
And this was the win that really mattered, because not only does it put you in an advantage position, you now are off of the 4-0-4-0. You're in like, we won a hard game. We can actually beat Envy in this set. The confidence, it's scary to give. Let's send it back to the desk to see what they think.
As much as I want to say that it's important that Na'Vi win, I have to pull it back to talk about the one thing that kept catching my eye, and that's just Rock Monkey.
Yeah.
I wrote it down twice just to make sure that I didn't forget to talk about Rock Monkey.
It's even underlined and circled. I mean, performed well is an understatement. That's a professional way of wording it, but he was ripping it up.
I can think of like 10
Knessa.
phrases that would not be broadcast appropriate that I would use to describe what he just did.
And Nick, even you could hear him during the broadcast. He was constantly being, taken aback by it, and one of the main reasons it went 4-3.
And a lot of it was that him, as well as Random Noob on the Drogoz, they did a lot in terms of pushing power, finding the kills, being able to knock people off the map in certain points thanks to Combustible. But the thing I think it all comes down to, and I think we'll probably see this a little bit, is you can look at the damage taken. Very similar numbers between Zarini and Tulki there. 165,000 on Tulki, 168,000 on Zarini. But Inara has just way more staying power, and it comes down to even though both healers are at the 230,000 mark for their healing, it was that Spunky Zarini combo just keeping him alive on the objective that did so much.
Yeah, and you can never look at the damage column as the end-all be-all. I like to look at it because I like a good high-powered offense, but as well as, the staying power of the Inara, she did like 30,000, 40,000 more damage than Tulki did on the opposite side, so big difference maker there as well. But, going 4-3 on Frog Island, I think you mentioned this, like, when you get two teams who are so close in skill, that's when Frog Isle looks the way it just did. In the past we've seen some clean 4-0s, just like flies through the map, but a 4-3, that indicates two teams who are, quite honestly, very close.
And there's the man himself. Almost had 3 rings, still has 2 in terms of how many championships he's won. He is one of the best supports that you could have to watch. And again, almost synonymous with Maldamba. I think he actually does have a snake that he practices with at home. That's the only explanation.
Looks in the mirror and
figures out how exactly snake, where the healing is going to go, how the venom will spit out, all of that, because it seems so seamless for them. And again, Na'Vi, that one, it wasn't even like one player did really well, 2 players did really well. That was just a unit. That was a full team playing as a team. Whereas on the side of Envy, I'm gonna have to say it didn't feel much like their team. It felt like a random noob and a Rock Monkey show, and then every now and then you'd start to see a little bit else trickle down, but it didn't feel as much as though the front lines were having that pressure.
It's actually interesting that you mentioned that, because if you kind of look back and think about it, and I think this is just a different way of saying the same thing, but like the Envy fights and Envy wins, those team fight wins, seem to stem off of, like you said, like a Rock Monkey double kill would then steamroll into the rest of Envy, finding kills. Whereas on the side of Na'Vi, of course picks are important, but it seemed like a more coordinated team fight almost that ended up turning into a victory there. So, maybe different play styles, but definitely different outcomes.
Well, I'd mentioned Serpent Beach being one of the 5 standards not left around, but Splitstone Quarry is where Envy are going to opt to go into. And, again, it kind of makes sense. You now have Rock Monkey, who's been warmed up on a Leon, warmed up on a Canessa, looking pretty good on both of them. It's whether or not the rest of the team can come through. I'm going to ask you this now before picks and bans even start. Do Envy go for a Fernando again?
Maybe. Yes.
Like an unfortunate yes?
I think Tulki just feels very comfortable on the Fernando. We saw a great Immortal in that last game that changed, one of the team fights they were in. So, to say, I've maybe been harsh on him, to say that he, doesn't have any utility is just not true. He has the potential to change up fights, but it seems to be like a very specific
He's an ult machine
situation
at that point.
Right. I wouldn't be surprised if they stick with the Fernando, but I would like for them to maybe look towards something else.
Okay.
I think the front lines on the side of Na'Vi have just done too good a job at just even if it's just a little difference, just throwing a little wrench in the mix, not in the same way that Fernando can. Makoa's off the board, Khan Torvald off the board, so there's only so many frontliners you can pick. So, with those bans, I wouldn't be surprised to see Fernando again, but, I'd like to see, maybe a bit of a variety.
Well, it's going to be up to Na'Vi here, honestly. If they want to go double frontline, it's available to them to grab both of them. Inara's still available. Ashe still available. Those two have been pretty prominent today. Ruckus has been kind of hit or miss. I feel like earlier we saw Zarini on it for Na'Vi, and it didn't quite click the way I think they intended it to. So now being able to come into it, Lazy loves his Inara, so I can't think of any reason to really pull it away.
It's one of the more least surprising first couple picks, assuming the Ashe comes through, because these are the two front lines they've leaned on. So I think this edges Envy towards another Fernando pick. He's not bad. We don't have to keep harping on Fernando. The Barrack, I like the Barrack as well. Fernando's up there in the tier list, but I think he's at the moment beneath Inara and Ashe. So does not surprise me that Na'Vi go the Inara Ashe route. I like seeing the Barrack and the Cassie come out for Envy. We haven't seen Rock Monkey on the Cassie just yet, so that's a treat to be sure. The Damba. That surprises you, doesn't it?
Man, Spunky playing Maldamba, Phoenix probably playing Tyra. What a surprise. Although Tyra, I will say, is an interesting one on this map, just because, again, Splitstone Quarry, Tyra doesn't really have that vertical mobility or even horizontal mobility. She's kind of slow, so this is going to be very much dependent on the hit scan methods as well as using that firebomb to lock things down. But here comes the Eevee for the first time, and I'm not sure that we've gotten to give you the full treat that is a random noob Eevee.
No, and I saw it in person at World. I mean, I was at Worlds the finals on Sunday of last year, and so I got to see it a little bit in person. But this is my first time, ever experiencing it as a member of the Paladins team here. So I'm certainly excited for it. So the Barrack and the Ruckus going the way of Envy. So Fernando not seen in this lineup. I like that. I'm happy to see that. I like the Envy lineup. You get Rock Monkey on his Cassie. You get Random Noob on his Eevee. I mean, that's a high-powered offense to deal with. So
are you liking them a little bit more than Na'Vi, or would you say kind of on par with?
I would say it's on par, because the Tyra Bomb King still scares me on the side of Na'Vi. I would say I like it better than previous Envy drafts. I think they've done a good job of maybe tweaking it just enough to give a little bit more of an edge. If I saw the Fernando again, I might have been a little bummed, but I like it a lot better.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and throw my hat in with Envy for this one, just because I'm seeing a Cassie, I'm seeing an Eevee, and I'm excited for it, and there's no better place or no better duo to take us through than Splitstone Quarry and Nick and Evan.
Thanks, Score. And this is a map where Eevee has shown brightly for Random Noob and the rest of Envy. They've played against Na'Vi. They've played in their run to Vegas, trying to get obviously a win there, and succeeded here on this map. So a lot of good memories, and we'll see if they can continue that success heading into this crucial game to try and tie up the set.
So I have a couple questions about what and where this Grover is going to be. I feel like Ash Bomb King is just going to dominate under the bleachers, so to speak. And, if Grover's hanging out, around a corner or anywhere near there where Grover normally kind of is, and it looks like he's going to sit up on the high ground, maybe realizing that there's no way we control this sort of little undercarriage.
And I think the big key, Nick, as well, my kind of thought is the pace. Grover and positioning, that is really important. But the pace is being set by Envy, and this is what they need to do. They have to put pressure on creatives. They have to put pressure on the backline, get Tyra off early, and they just did that. That takes away the hunting party. That's what Na'Vi are utilizing so well as a team. And Zarini's just fit in more and more. They're staggering out creatives here. There was no way he was going to 1v4 the rest of Envy. Great player, though. I mean, an MVP in his own right, first World Championship.
A lot of ways to move around on this map. Envy are playing this very differently and appropriately, right? You have to kind of shift where the pressure's happening from as an Eevee. We talked about it a little bit with Tenor, how he didn't have this Eevee pressure coming from under lava. So Random Noob is going to be that fly this time around. Creatives is low. Creatives
should be
probably dead here.
Good jump, though. I mean, he avoided at least one, but now Lazy's isolated. They've done a great job, again, of getting into the backline, and that's something that I was so surprised to not see any Eevees and continue to make me kind of wonder. We forgot about her, and Random Noob just proved she was such a high-tier character on land. And now you're seeing why.
He's a monster with it at the World Championship. So now the question is, who's been working it in the offseason? This has been such a massive tool in the Envy arsenal. And frankly, so has Zin been, but a couple people have picked up Zin. Alex looked great on it today. Nobody's really done what Random Noob or has even come close to doing what Paul's done on the Eevee.
And I think it's really because of Freeze God. I have to give credit. I know Random Noob's done such a great job, but you see when he's not against an Eevee who's showing the potential of Eevee every single set, forcing him to take it, he has a lot of other things he'll prioritize and enjoy. When Freeze God is killing everyone on that Eevee, it forces you to take it, forces you to think about it differently. And you just saw in the hands of Random Noob, it can be just as deadly. So now it's on Envy's minds. Will this set change? It seems to have done so.
Had to go and remind me of SSG and make me sad.
I know.
I can't wait for those boys to get it all sorted out and get over here. Rubu finds Zarini. Might be a wormhole back over to the top, soaring, trying to find the Zanar. Who's going to get the killing blow? It'll be Rubu.
Can we take a look at a Random Noob's loadout as well, the Eevee loadout. Curious what he's running. Nothing really different, but one card he did say he loved was Rift Walk. Movement speed after blinking. He thinks it's an underrated card, something not a lot of people run. You can actually find it in Eevee's basic loadout, which is maybe what gives it that feeling of not being that good. And he's getting that extra movement speed to get that extra angle.
Ooh, maybe could have taken one more shot there, but Splitting hairs, it's going to cost Rock Monkey his life, but the payload looks like it's about ready to go through regardless.
Never count Spunky out, but they've done it. And a little Gurk spray with a spin of the axe to seal the deal.
And it's good stuff all around the board here. What Envy did so well in that first round, and what Na'Vi need to respond to now, is you have an immeasurable amount of pressure. Ruckus and Eevee come blitzing through the lava side of the map. Put that pressure on early. They go 1 for 1, and that's fine. They're just faster and then re-rotate back towards the point to start putting pressure there before Na'Vi can really get their feet set again and do something about it. That was, I believe, twice in that fight. Both frontliners from Na'Vi were kind of just like caught out in this big counter-rotation pinch. And Noob leading the damage charts 6-0 and 6 on Eevee. Almost almost officially doubling Rock Monkey is not what you'd expect to see.
Well, the thing that we're witnessing here is also Splitstone Quarry being taken full advantage of. I mean, you've got the ability for high ground to low ground to back to high ground, and Phoenix just can't keep up. I mean, Creatives, he's got a Poppy Bomb, but he honestly can't keep up as well.
The tanks are on an island right now. The tanks are without healing at this moment. Creatives is without healing. Spunky has been forced to watch for this Eevee, and Random Noob is making their life a living hell.
This is just a masterclass of how you basically isolate a team. You separate the healer. You force them into bad situations. Spunky has something set up for him. He's going to miss that one. And he's trying to find him in the last shot. He's going to clean it up. And
so
the wormhole back.
Though.
He might get taken, but no, he's going to make it. He's got the undersmark, so they know where he is, but he's going to back into safety. And Envy are looking good.
This is tough, man. They got to find an answer. And again, it's Eevee. They blink in, couple shots, throws the Ice Storm, leaves without even getting the kill, and that almost wins the fight. Just the sheer disconnect. Spunky is forced to babysit Phoenix. They have to figure out a plan. Maybe just bring Phoenix closer to the rest of the pack.
And Random Noob can't blink back. Creatives has a trap plan for him, and so he doesn't actually do so. Maybe just sees it, maybe knows what they're doing, just doesn't want to stay in the pocket there. He gets taken down by Zarini nevertheless. Here's a Hunter, here's a Firebomb as well, and Rock Monkey just deleting them. This is one of the best DPS players in the world. We haven't talked about him at all game because Random Noob's been stealing the show.
And that's just what it is. It's not that Rock Monkey's playing bad. There's just no one left for him to kill. And now that there is someone to kill, he's more than happy to step up to the plate and knock it out of the park. He hates being in the backpack. He hates this scenario that Envy are putting him right now.
That's true.
And so now what I'd like to see Na'Vi do is just collapse, right? Don't get so spread thin. I think, maybe just commit Phoenix to the low ground here. I still think he can maybe do what he was doing, but be a little bit safer, closer to the pack.
And the thing about Grover's healing is it's above and below, so what they're doing really nicely is Mr. Hayes is staying underneath the damage of that fight, but still giving them passive healing, staying close enough. Good shots there from Creatives on the BK, and Na'Vi getting a little bit of a hold here. This is the first moment we've seen them have a semblance of kind of relaxed anticipation of what's going to happen next. They've been reacting almost every single moment of this game.
Yeah. I'd almost like to ask, what's happening, because we've been watching Noob at the start of these fights, what's happening under the bleachers, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
How is a Barrack keeping up against an Ashe and Bomb King who are likely standing wherever they want and an Inara on the objective?
It's got to be the Grover and then the bowling ball reset. So much shielding, so much just bare health that's getting healed up. What a beautiful shot there.
Almost cursed.
And I think the Phoenix is I think Phoenix is just in trouble on this map, especially with such a natural predator in the Eevee in general. But just Eevee being able to get away. Phoenix cannot close the deal.
What a good change up though, because Phoenix isn't used to, having to play DPS every single game. I don't even know when the last time they probably scrimmed that was.
Right.
He's going to be comfortable on the top. Of course he wants to play Tyra every game. He's probably not used to playing this DPS role this season. Big switch from the Drogos, which is a much better matchup for Phoenix than now on the Eevee, where Random Noob can get a little bit of something going.
Yeah, I mean, Tyra has a Drake, Drake gun, Drake cape, but she doesn't have a Witch's cape there, and I think Eevee may still be getting the better end of that matchup for the most part. Mr. Hayes on a 28 streak. And that spells trouble right there. You can't kill the Grover, well, that's going to make a big difference.
And more killing sprees coming through here. The Eevee voice pack as
should
well. I don't know, Ev. I think
That should do.
What? How do you bring this one back? There's 2 people left alive against 4.
The Whirlwind, dude, that was perfect. The assert dominance is going to end from Zerini.
The only ult.
They find a nice kill on a random noob. Can the Firebomb do enough? If Spunky goes down here, I'd feel trouble, but a beautiful slither. Oh, man, that is Spunky in a nutshell right there. Making it out when you think he wouldn't. They finally get the kill on the Mr. Hayes.
Serini, man.
I should spend my
And what's so
credits.
crazy is that on the 30 streak, he gets the kill, only has 28% on his health. You know, sometimes that rule just doesn't work.
Probably could have changed it. I don't know. That's a very...
They could have changed it. You're right.
That is a mechanic that is very little in terms of the math is known about.
No,
So-
someone did a little chart that I saw, and it was like 15 plus. It said the exact percentage you got, but it must be wrong. It didn't go past that.
The math does not check out here.
It does not check out.
I can't believe it, man. 2 versus... It was a 2v5 for a little bit, then it became a 2v4. Assert Dominance, pretty much the only ultimate that could have salvaged that, and Zerini does it yet again for his team, substituting in for Na'Vi and having one hell of a day at it.
3-1 goes the score. These teams have just been landing uppercut to uppercut, and this is an incredible fight, a showcase of some of the best in the business, the best in the business, and just giants in the scene. Creatives poking away. And Zerini trying to take the space. Throws the shield. He's going to try to min-max in between that. Still has the shoulder bash. But he's poked Rocket Monkey out of the fight for now.
Well, whatever it is, this time around, Phoenix is alive, and everyone has been... Well, okay.
You know what? Curse of the caster right there, okay?
Oopsie daisy. That's what I wanted all along.
And Lazy looks like he's going to fall very soon as well. This should be it. I feel like there's just no way to contend with a smart EV player distracting and then giving Rock just free shots. You know?
It comes down to if you're gonna leave him on an island and put him on a timer, you just got to make something happen in that amount of time. Phoenix, I think, gave you enough time in that 4v whatever situation with Eevee sort of buzzing around waiting to strike. I think there was enough time there for Na'Vi to find a killer to do something.
And the ultimates, aside from if there was a con here that could maybe grab the Eevee, maybe throw it into the ground or get an easy secured kill, that's not hitting. That was a big shot on Spunky as well, because that's going to force him back. He's going to be careful about peeking. That means Lazy's isolated, forced to ult here. Creatives now takes a little more damage than he would have wanted. The Dome Shield ends up saving Eric. The double Ice Storm to try to close it out. And Envy with Random Noob on that Eevee that won that World Championship. They're going to tie up the set 2-2 here on Splitstone.
You got to answer it. I mean, at this point, it is a tough question to pose. Splitstone is a really good map for Eevee, I will say. Bright Marsh is another one that Random Noob still looked at, but with both those maps out of the pool now, the question is, how much more can MB lean on this as we move through some of these other maps? Shattered Desert, I don't even know if that's going to come through.
Are we going to see that?
I didn't really feel like I learned a whole lot, except
No.
you got to stay within arm's reach of your teammate because everyone is just kind of moving around together in that place.
Yeah, I am very curious as to what the maps start to look like. Those last 3 maps are going to be sparse, different, and if it's anything like the World Championship, it's going to show some weaknesses for some of these teams, especially with a sub on the side of Na'Vi. It's tied up. Let's send it back to the desk.
This is where things are going to start breaking down. You keep it tied up, everything is going kind of blow for blow, punch for punch between these two teams. And you've gone 3 standard maps, a Splitstone Quarry there to end it, so nothing too out of the ordinary just yet. But that last map was a treat to watch because we got to see exactly what we wanted to see, and that was Random Noob on Eevee doing well.
Yeah, and we touched on it in picks and bans as well. I mean, you give the Eevee to Random Noob, you give the Cassie to Rock Monkey, and you get Tulky on a bit of a different frontliner, and I was feeling good about it. We were feeling good about it, and it panned out heavily in their favor. And you got to give credit to Hayes as well. He had a 31 streak on the Damba. I think he died once in that game, twice maybe, but well played top to bottom for Envy.
It's something that I've encountered through the games that Evan and I have played with various members of the casting crew in the past, where he always talks about you just have to, if you don't kill Grover, then it's going to be your problem, right? And I literally just wrote down, if you don't kill Grover, then it's going to be game over, because it's a good rhyme, and it's also a little bit true. When you see Mr. Hayes at 2-1 and 37, something's going wrong, but you have to look just below that to the 12-3 and 14 Eevee, or just above that to the 13-3 and 10, and also the 10-3.
Right.
Rubu.
You got
like
you got
everybody's
Rubu
positive
as well. Tulky, I mean, they all played well. I mean, nobody coming up short on the side of Envy, and you'll get some great highlights, I'm sure, out of Random Noob here, and certainly a presence to be felt. And you have to look at it now from the side of Na'Vi, how they answer back with something like this, because I mean, maybe it was just a split stone Corey thing. I mean, that was, Envy's pick. They kind of led that draft. So if you're on the side of Na'Vi, you have to consider, are we going to give away the Cassie and the Eevee again? Because what they just did to us with it was, kind of unfair. I mean, it was a 4-1. And, I think it a little surprising not to be a 4-0.
I mean, we roll this back, right? So before we can even get into map 5, we look at the set so far.
Yeah, right.
It's going even. The first one's 4-1. That one is admittedly just a pretty okay defense from Na'Vi. It was more, I think, Envy overextending. You get to see Shaolin come out. Rock Monkey does really well. Fernando's there, but you can't tell if Fernando's doing too hot.
Sure.
And you have this Drogoz that's performing well. You go into map 2, and all of a sudden you're reminded, okay, so Zarini, maybe don't put him on the ruggeds. Maybe don't take him off necessarily off the point, but like keep him on like a quote-unquote point tank.
Exactly.
Because the Makoa works really well. Frog Isle, snipers are really good, but it wasn't enough to be able to get Envy the win. This time around, you get that combo, the very similar combo between the Eevee and the Cassie to make things work. So is there something specifically that you feel has been going either right or wrong for Envy in those 4 games?
It's hard to put too
and is
much.
It Fernando?
I think
Are we going to hurt Fernando again?
I don't know. I
feel
think
like
I need to ease up on Fernando. I need to ease up on the poor guy. I don't think that he's been what's right or wrong for Envy necessarily. I mean, game 1, I think it's more so on what champion you get Rock on, what champion you get Random Noob on, and then obviously the level of support behind that. We saw a little weirdness coming out from the Shaolin, and he tore it up. He was unstoppable in that first game. You throw him on the Leon. Obviously, he's incredible on the Leon, but there was just too much pressure against him that time. I think Envy need to keep going with these high offensive picks. I mean, the Eevee Cassie is literally the dream. I mean, that is the dream for Envy, for Rock Monkey, for Random Noob. I mean, if you get that every game, if that's on the board for you every game, map willing, I don't see why you don't take it.
I think it's funny to look back at the map scores and realize that Frog Isle is the only one that's gone 4-3.
Yep.
You mentioned it, and I was just like, wait a minute. Wait a minute here. One of these things is not like the other. Even Splitstone ended a little bit faster than that. And so my eyes are on future maps. I've mentioned that Serpent Beach is open, and actually Serpent Beach is a good map in my mind to think about if you're Envy here, because Eevee works there.
Yep.
You can definitely run a sniper. We've seen it work, although with the way they play, I feel like we definitely see more precedent maybe put on the Leon or the Cassie. But is there a place like, I mean, Na'Vi now gets to choose. You're trying to make Rock Monkey uncomfortable. I mean, you don't have a lot of maps left to be able to go through. Are we going to Shattered Desert?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would expect to see Serpent Beach come out at some point in these last few maps. If it goes to Game 7, I would be surprised not to see it. I wouldn't mind seeing a Shattered Desert. I mean, we don't really know how some of these champions work on that one just yet.
What are your thoughts on Fish Market, just as a map in general?
In general, I got to choose my words carefully here, don't I? I got to set myself up for happiness in this community. So I'll say this: my last PPL experience with Fish Market was when Envy won in the World Championships 4-0. Hell, maybe they'll pull it out at some point today and just say, hey, we know we can beat you here. We did it last time. We can do it again here. I guess that's technically in the realm of possibility. True. I wouldn't be surprised. I enjoy very fast-paced, upbeat games. So if I'm going to give you my feeling, I enjoy Fish Market because my main experience with it was a very upbeat, fast-paced, exciting game. So I don't mind it as a map. I'm gonna stay right in that gray area where I don't incriminate myself and don't really make a stand. I'm gonna say it's an all right map.
Well, we still have Fish Market. There's still Timbermill, Shattered Desert. We mentioned Serpent Beach. We mentioned Ice Mines, Frozen Guard. Like there's a ton of maps that are still on board. And who better to choose them than the teams that are playing, so we can actually see where we're going. And it is going to be the Serpent Beach.
Yep.
And this is where I can repose the question to you. So we are going to Serpent Beach. Mm-hmm. Snipers have been seen here. Castleon can do really well here. Eevee can do well here.
Yep.
Do you think, before we even see a draft, is Eevee going to get banned?
I was going to say, I wouldn't be surprised to see Eevee get banned here. I mean, I think it's, after what Random just did, I think it's tough to let Eevee through. I mean, maybe they say, it's hard for us to know what's going on, in the team's maybe they understand, like, all right, this is what let Random do so well against us on this Eevee. I mean, maybe they have it figured out. I think if they're not going to pick it and they're not going to ban it, I don't know. I think it either needs to be picked or banned on the side of Na'Vi unless they have sort of the one big thing figured out on why Eevee did so well.
Well, that's going to be up to them. Khan is their first ban. Grover coming out from Envy. And again, when you look at how well Mr. Hayes performed on that, how well he just does in general, Grover is a very standard ban. Do you expect the last two frontlines? Probably.
That's how it's been. I think there was the map number 2 where it was like Leon, Cassie, or something like that. Two backliners banned away. So I wouldn't be surprised if these last 2 bans are front lines. The Torvald, making me half correct. Maybe an Inara, something interesting like that. It's going to be the Makoa. So Na'Vi now in the driver's seat on this end. They could continue how they have been, finding that Inara first pick. They've felt comfortable with that. That's where they've gone in the past. They do end up going with it again. So now Envy are in the driver's seat. I mean, the Cassie, the Eevee are both still on the table.
I mean, Inara, again, fits perfectly with Lazy, not something too atypical. But this is the opening for Envy. And the biggest issue is you have to ride that line, that very thin line.
Absolutely.
Right? If you grab an Eevee too early, they have a chance to counter it. If you grab Eevee Leon here, it makes things maybe a little bit easier for you, but you're giving away maybe the potential for that support pick, a secondary front line. You might give up some of the things that helped you last time, which I didn't mention as much. We didn't go into as much or as deeply, but Barrick coming down for Envy was a huge plus for them. Having a different frontline setup than they did in map number 3 on Frog Isle, it helped them immensely.
No, and I like seeing the Ashe come out here much for the same reason. I mean, it's a differentiator from where things fell short for them in the past. So I think the Ashe is a great pick. The Leon, that's good. I think they're kind of getting the best of both worlds here with their first 2 picks. They're getting a real strong difference maker of a front line. They're getting a great champion that Rock Monkey can do well on. So I actually like the way that the first and second pick went there for them. But now Na'Vi have the ability to shift the pressure back onto the side of Envy. I mean, they can really throw out a couple picks here that would change the way this looks. Ruckus, not necessarily a huge power shift or the Damba.
And I like this again because it's very bland.
Right.
It's bland for a good reason, though. It's the, hey, we're going to have the Ruckus, we're going to have the Maldamba, but we're not going to show you what we're doing. We don't have a plan yet. So if Envy go for a Pip, if Envy go for an Envy, or if Envy go for Envy, if Envy go for an Eevee, then they are still set, or they can grab the Pip and the Barrick. And I can't think of any world. Okay, Sarah, I was going to say, I can't think of any world where this Pip is a Mega Potion healer Pip.
I was going to say, they would have to have a healer on the back end of that. So Sarah's Barrack, I like that. So they leave the door open for presumably Random Noob's final pick. So the Eevee's still on the board if that's the direction they want to go. And a last pick Eevee would be nice for them. They're able to get some more high priority stuff 1 through 4. But now Na'Vi, they need some damage dealers here on their side as well. Eevee, they're going to potentially steal it away here from Random Noob, and it looks like that's exactly what's going to happen. So Eevee lasting late, not going over to the side of Envy, instead going over to the side of Na'Vi. I'm not surprised to see that.
Well, in my eyes, this is something that Envy, I think I've actually kind of planned for. The Shaolin is going to throw him for a loop, I think, slightly. But Eevee in that area is really weak against a Leon. Leon can take her down. Bomb King can take her down both pretty easily.
Sure.
Both of those things are good for Envy here. Pip can also maybe deal with her a little bit easier. But she is in this area where you kind of have to, you either give her to Envy and they not only have a good performance with her, but your draft is pretty vulnerable to her, or you try to scoop her away and hope for the best.
And it's not like there's much of a regression from Eevee to Drogos there for Random Noob. I mean,
Oh yeah, no, I'll be in the air as a different champion shooting
Right.
giant explosive rockets.
so getting a couple of their power picks. I like both drafts equally. I think Envy did a good job here yet again.
Drogos has no big hit scan threaten. We have now Rock Monkey on the Leon instead of the Cassie. I'm excited to see it, and we're on Serpent Beach for the first time today. Nick and Evan, do you see any snakes?
No. And if I did, I'd run away from the cast. I'm not a fan at all. I don't know about you, Nick. Get any pet anacondas anytime soon?
I don't mind
Yeah?
snakes. I'm not like scared of them, but I don't like to hold snakes.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It's like a big warm hot dog wrapped around
Slimy,
your yeah.
moving.
It's just I'm like no,
They feel like
it's
so.
not comfortable to have held.
You wonder why we like dogs, because we could see their like emotion and they feel. I don't know. Snakes is just hard to get a read on, man. That's
Yeah.
why I'm just like, bro, you trying to kill me or you just
you trying
chilling?
to beat the team or join the team that beat you 3-1 in the front, or like I don't know.
Yeah. Netflix and chill or Netflix and kill? I'm trying to figure this out because
the-
you're not giving me clear signs here.
Okay, I think you're my best friend. Then you're on the Golden State Warriors, and it's like, yeah.
There you go. I mean, the drama with snakes, it's endless. Natus Vincere and Envy, though, they're putting together quite a story, my friend. This plot would do well on Temptation Island. It's one back and forth. A little jealousy here, a little jealousy there. A few slaps. And ultimately, somebody will be left standing on top. The other bowing their head in disgrace.
Ooh,
Nice read.
there.
Oh!
From one Eevee player with love, my friend. He knows the tricks.
That was beautiful.
It really was.
And the timing of the first rocket hit for full damage. The Shaolin on Phoenix, it's
Ooh.
not going to be as easy for him to finish off the Drogos, but it's not the worst matchup. It's a light counter, I'd say.
It's not Tyra.
It's
He's
not
going to have to
Tyra.
shift gears. Everyone's shifting gears a little bit today, except for Random Noob. He's already played this a couple of times. 72 to 69. When you have an R on your side, Na'Vi don't really have. They know what they're going to do on the objective. They're going to go there and they're going to sit there. Now Eevee's back though. Can Random Noob put it together again?
He missed that fire spit. That was unlike him. Now there's a little pressure here. Got to be careful. Random Noob needs to hold down this point. Lazy finally going down was a big hope for the success, but here's Phoenix, and he does find the kill. Mr. Hayes keeping Tolkien alive and deciding, let's go for damage this time around. And that'll do Team Envy will grab point 1 here on Serpent Beach.
A good team fight from Na'Vi, just a better one from Envy. I was listening for each one of those arrows. I kept seeing Random Noob's health dropping, and Phoenix didn't miss a shot. Kind of got his thing done, but it had fallen apart a little bit too much at that point. Toki finds 2 as well on the barrack. Sneaky little damage dealer that dwarf can be at times, and sort of in the realm of Cassie, can hit this Drogos, but at this range it gets harder and harder.
Yeah. And that's the key there. Random Noob has to stay alive. And unlike the last fight where pace was such a big deal, and I think pace is a big deal for Na'Vi because they love to send Lazy on the point, get a lot of objective capture, take smart fights, get healed up, make you kind of double take, over-assert yourself, and then find Spunky healing up 3 people again. Drogos can't push the pressure like Eevee did. And so they do have to sit from this back line. It means accuracy is needed. You have to hit those rockets and just get the damage from afar.
Up to the high ground, Rubu is committed. Ultimate has been spent, so now we expect to see the rest of Envy sort of follow up here. Rubu does not want to drop off this if he can help. He's going to fight for his life to stay up here. And a teammate has now joined him, it looks like. Random Noob roosting and ready to rock and roll.
Creative's one of the original Eevee players doing his thing, even before Random Noob was. In our earlier PGS iterations, and maybe even before that. Nice shots here as Arini cleaning things up. That's what's so good about Ruckus. Minute 5 now. Nice shot, another nice one. Good ice block. Rock should have him dead to rights here. One shot will do it. Get the kill.
But he sat there long enough that the collapse can come through.
Yeah.
My question now is, what does Envy do? What's their game plan look like? Because they don't have this Ashe ultimate. You simply can't rely on that every single round to get your Ashe to the high ground.
Yeah.
Make some space there. So how do Envy approach this one? This Dragon Punch could be good, and he is going to wind it up.
I think you just get Lazy out of the fight as much as possible, as quickly as possible.
Oh, no.
It's a great wall. Lazy knows the spots. That's a good wall, man. And he buys himself some time, but you still got to finish her, and you can. I mean, getting a kill on your Dragon Punch versus getting a delayed kill on your Dragon Punch and staying alive, I mean, those are fine things to have occur. And Spunky getting pressured out here.
Fire spin in 2 seconds. That would have been a really good fire spin if he had it up right then and there. Spunky should still be there. You can see the trail from the gourd. Risky pathing there from Random Noob.
Yeah.
That does not pay off.
Did he just must not have known. I mean, maybe he thought they ran away and was trying to chase.
I think he knew Spunky was there, but I didn't know if he knows Zarini was there as well.
Yeah, that was a bit more than he could shoot. And then a dome shield used right after that, which is an interesting call by Tolkien. I'm not sure what that was about.
I'd be thinking they can get it done. Tolkien spends a big ulti. It does not pay out for them. Ice Storm was used to sort of counter him out, or at least keep him in space under the dome shield. Whether that was necessary or not, I'll leave that up to you, chat. It doesn't really, lean much either way. Na'Vi are going to get a solid defense here. And frankly, up until Envy kind of popped off and had a really good fight on the point fight, Na'Vi were really in control of that as well. If Random Noob doesn't put that little miracle sequence together to take out Eevee, I think it's a very different fight.
That's very true. I mean, at this point, Na'Vi and Envy are the little things are separating these teams, not the big things. And that's what makes winning so great, makes losing that much harder. Knowing they were right there. And on a different day, the ball would have bounced your way. Phoenix on the Shaolin taking on one of the better DPS players and actually improving upon his own KDA in the game. 3-2 versus Rock Monkeys 2-3. And here's an early convergence, trying to find anything, and it finds nothing. So that's big fat zilch, Mr. Hayes.
Not surprised.
I like the pace, though.
Yeah, that's kind of like I'm going fishing. Maybe I'll catch something. I don't really know when else I'm going to use this because I'm playing back the whole time. And pressure all the same on Na'Vi. They are feeling the heat here. And Tolkien gets one more Rocket Boots reset, buying time for Rock Monkey to hit some shots. Why don't ya?
Why don't ya? And hits that one as well. It's such a dangerous player, and especially on this hit scan. He's just one for the record books, but still doing what he's continued to do throughout his career. 60% now for Team Envy. Zarini trying to climb back up. Rubu pressuring him out with the flak cannon. And a move is going to be made. Expect the Thunderdome. Oh my goodness! Random Noob runs into Lazy on accident and kind of stuns him in place.
I thought that did definitely look on accident, but it worked out. Right now, you said it best. The ball is just bouncing Envy's way.
And small things turning into small leads, which may turn into big results for the two teams that are going to be battling it out most likely for first or second place here in this league. If we're going by World Championship results. Creatives on the Eevee doing a good job, but it's really, I mean, I'll leave this to you, Nick. What's the failure in Na'Vi's lineup or how it's being used?
A lot of Eevees that we see on this map in particular, because this has kind of been Eevee's come-up map, they go to the enemy's backline and they kind of play, you see this little hut where Lazy protected himself, that little high ground, they play off of that and they're constantly blinking into the enemy's backline and sort of doing that. I don't know how much of Eevee he's played in this season. I don't know if he's doing it to take it away, but it's not a very conventional Eevee from what we've seen so far this season.
And it's trying to find the rhythm, trying to find its space, and, obviously committing to the tenets of control high ground, but again, you find that it's just some things a little off, and I love the idea. And he gets 1,600 damage off, though. I mean, that's better than some enlightenments we've seen.
The ball is bouncing their way, dude.
And I think they feel it. I think they know it. Rock Monkey's styling a little bit.
And he's worth talking about, right? So that is the conventional way that a lot of people play Eevee. But, conventionally we talk about the auto-aim being the important counter to Eevee that Leon's got, but Rock's just hitting left click, so maybe Creative's just saying, I just can't be there. I can't be in line of sight of him. Not today.
Right.
It's not going to happen.
And that's what makes it so dangerous.
Hey, Phoenix.
Phoenix.
What's up, dude? Oh, no.
Phoenix didn't see him the whole way? Or maybe he tried to get as much damage off as possible and realized that if I go down, at least my tanks stay alive, and that's helpful. But it doesn't look to be helping right now. Lazy, tanky as ever. They do a good job of ignoring Inara, and Lazy does a great job of staying alive during that process.
Oh, but Lazy gets a kill?
Yeah, it's amazing what he ends up doing on that front line. Min-maxes situation so well, but I think this should do it. Phoenix going to die to the rocket. And I don't think Creatives is going to challenge this one. It should be a push, and it is. 3-1 for Envy to take the lead now.
Yeah.
In a best of 7 that's now become a best of 3. First to 2 more wins gets it.
From where I'm sitting, we just got to take a moment of silence here. Quick little flick, quick little flick. Yikes.
Flick.
That, again, that might be why Creatives is just staying away from Rock Monkey right now. And if my money's on it, it looked like Phoenix didn't know. He looked like, to me, he was holding an arrow that whole time, kind of like looking around, but he didn't actually loose anything from where I was sitting, and I think he just got caught completely off guard. I think Lazy got caught off guard by those dragon punches, and there's no other way to put it than the ball is indeed bouncing the way of Envy right now. The way that Enlightenment just catches creatives as he's coming out of spawn wasn't even meant for him. It's tough. Those are tough breaks.
Tough, dude.
Tough.
So tough. Nice salvo there. Just looking for early dismounts, early aggression. Dragon punches have been pretty much on point this game, and they've really been good kills. An early convergence, and again, it's separating them, it's forcing cooldowns, it's backing them off, and it gets a kill.
Jeez.
It gets a kill based on the space created.
And there's nothing wrong with what Creatives is doing. Again, it's just Envy play. You can't bank on this Drogo's hitting mid-air rockets on the Eevee. You just can't play around that. It's too good from Envy. Creatives is having a tough game. Phoenix is not exactly popping off either. This is rough stuff for them.
How does this man stay alive? Spunky and Lazy are just an incredible duo at sustain, man. I mean, he's still alive. Like, he went and even touched the point, walked out into no man's land, came back with a tail to tell. But unfortunately, I think the tail has been told here, and it's by the dragon with the tail as he dragon punches Ruckus, who's
good luck.
tried to flee. But that is not going to do anything. Double kill, maybe a triple kill, Nick.
Who cares?
Delay triple.
It's too good. Simply too good from Envy. I don't think Navi did a lot wrong there. I think there was just really insane moments from Envy. And it was really a lot on Creatives. That poor guy, he just had a rough game through no fault of his own.
So 3 of the first 4, or 2 of the first 4, I believe, went the way. Sorry, 3 of the first 4 went the way of Envy using Tolkien Fernando. Now that he's played the next 2 without the Fernando, what's been interesting is that they've started to have more consistent success, and I think that now with the chance to put this away, if he continues this, we'll see just at least more credence to their drafts.
Yeah.
It seemed like they were almost forcing this idea. They realized it didn't work as well. They have a lot more staying power and aggressiveness on the front lines now. So let's send it back to the desk, see what they have to say. It is match point for Envy coming up.
Well, Envy definitely seems like they've started to zone in a lot more. Rock Monkey is hitting these shots like crazy. The flicks are connecting. Random Noob seems comfortable on the Drogos, and unfortunately for Creatives, that means that Eevee was really unable to accomplish pretty much anything.
Yeah, and we talked about this in the draft. We were wondering, are they going to take the Eevee? Are they going to let it go? But they had the Leon. They had it planned early on. They said, "All right, we're going to take the Leon. We'll give them over the Drogo, or we'll take the Drogos. We'll give them the Eevee. We're going to have an answer for it." And when you have a guy like Rock Monkey who's not going to be missing a lot of shots, you're really dictating how that Eevee has to play. She wasn't able to play as free. She wasn't able to fly around quite as much as she would have liked.
Oof, the 51,000 damage. Yep. And the reason, even though that was a faster game, is just outside of supports, from what I'm seeing, and Lazy, I guess, on that front line, pretty much the lowest. I mean, you're hitting lower than everyone except for Mr. Hayes on the side of Envy.
Yeah, and again, I think that's just how much pressure Envy had on how Creatives was able to play. I mean, he didn't have the freedom. I mean, 3-10 and 4. I mean, there's only so much you can do about that. I mean, you can wall yourself off. You can, keep yourself safe for a moment. But the moment that you bust out of that, you wormhole back. You get shot by Rock Monkey. It doesn't matter. It's less on Creatives and more just how well Envy drafted and played their lineup.
And I think again, I think they were planning on that. Yeah. I think that's why we didn't see Eevee come out from them early on. They're like, you know what? If that's our last pick, that's our last pick.
Right.
And if we get it, cool. If we don't, cool. We have Leon.
Exactly.
We can shut it down.
Yep.
And, based on the slash lines there, you could see, I think it was Rubu and Rock Monkey both being able to do, I think, 8 and 3, something very similar to that. So feeling very confident in themselves and their ability. But the thing that didn't catch us off guard too much, but Random Noob obviously plays a lot of Eevee, obviously has played a lot on this map in the past, and you could see in this Drogo's play, because there were certain points where it's like, oh, Eevee's going to be over
right
there,
here.
and he just shoots a rocket and finds the kill.
Yeah, and that is just pure experience. That's a 200 IQ, smooth, big brain
Galaxy
play.
brain.
I mean, right? Just somebody who knows the game, knows the champion. I mean, if you really think about that, it's like, I know the way a champion I'm not even playing plays on this map so well that I can salvo through this doorway, and this is where Eevee's going to be. I mean, it really just goes to show how comfortable they are and how good they are on some of these maps. And Evan touched on it before throwing it back to us. I liked that the Envy streak, sort of back to 2 now, is after they've regressed from the Fernando a little bit. The poor guy, I mean, he's on the ground, and I keep kicking him. But I like when Tolkien gets to play somebody else. He's got armor.
Well, we're going to be going to Ice Mines for map number 6. And again, this is one of those things, I don't get to say what I did at Worlds, where if this had been Fish Market, except it's banned, if this had been Fish Market, it would have been the, hey, where teams go to lose. But Ice Mines is kind of similar in certain veins, kind of different in others. This is a point fight-based fight. When you have teams that are very equal, when you don't know how to find the push. The biggest problem, I think, for either of these teams on this map is that both of them will know how to push, and both of them know what they're doing. So this could be a very quick 4-0 Ice Mines, and it could be a very long 20-minute 4-3. You really don't know.
Well, the history of this matchup, not necessarily the history of these two teams, but just today, there's been one game that's been 4-3, and then the other 4 have been either 4-1 or 4-0. Maybe they're all 4. Oh, yeah, there's one 4-0, 3 4-1s, and then one of those 4-3s. So teams have kind of done it all except a 4-2. So I'm predicting they complete the cycle, and one of the teams wins 4-2 on this one. Just kidding. That's not going to happen. But Grover, Torvald, first bans, frontline-centric still, not really giving away too much on what they're hoping to do. Oh, there's the Inara.
I actually like this. Na'Vi, I think they're trying to accomplish 2 things, and the same thing here for Envy. They are looking at what's been successful in the past, what's going to be good on this map.
Yep.
And I think for Na'Vi, they have a strategy they're going for where Inara is just an irritating front line.
Sure.
Trying to figure out how I wanted to say that. She's just irritating on the front line to deal with, so you have to take care of her carefully. Unfortunately, that leaves open that Makoa, and the one game they won earlier on Jack Falls where it was kind of a landslide victory for Na'Vi was with this Makoa.
With the Makoa, and Zarini on that Makoa playing it well, showing us that he certainly belongs in the Na'Vi lineup. But now you have to look at the remaining frontline champions that Envy can choose from. You got the Barrack, you got the Ashe, of course the Fernando's still around. So certainly strong champions. Khan, of course, not banned out, so actually a really strong pick. I like the Khan pick. Go back to the Fernando. Don't necessarily hate it because they paired it with a Khan.
Because fire melts ice.
Fire melts ice. You know, that's just pure game knowledge right there, and that is physics. That is physics. Little did everyone know Gore has a PhD in physics. Okay. Fire greater than ice.
I could never have gone for a PhD. I was tired of school before I barely got this degree that I already have, let alone try to go for another one.
Senioritis freshman year.
I just started afterward. I was like, man, this will be great 3 years from now when I'm finished, except it ended up being 4 years. Oof. Either way, we've got the Fernando locked in. And, mixed success. I guess I could go through and look and kind of cut it down, but how are you feeling about Pip? I mean, Evil Mojo, pretty good at taking care of frontline.
Yeah, pretty okay at taking care of frontline. I like the Pip pick here. I think Fernando had a tougher time. Of course, the thing we keep saying, Fernando had a tougher time making his presence felt in games 2 and 3. The Pip is going to make that even a little bit harder. I mean, if your main role as a frontliner and the way that you're going to make your presence felt to a team is literally just standing there, Pip is a great pick against that. I mean, that essentially, depending on how it's used, just eliminates Fernando from the map.
Well, hey, it worked so well last map. Might as well grab him again. Leon and Drogo's coming through. But Drogo's is the one I want to zone in on and kind of zoom in on, just because this is not a typical Drogo's map. Earlier we saw it played in the first set. Did not do too hot on Ice Mines, haha, because it's Ice Mines, but also just doesn't have the same flexibility, like we were actually looking at that matchup was Drogo's versus Bomb King, and Evan had pointed out that it's pretty easy for a Bomb King to hit a Drogo's on Ice Mines where he's floating maybe 5-10 feet above you instead of 30 plus.
Right, and that's definitely the thing to watch, and that the initial point fights are all lower and closer quarter. I mean, I think Drogo's can excel there. You get a good flame spit, you get a good salvo into some of those closer, more bunched up team fights. It certainly could make a difference. Not the strongest Drogo's map, I don't think, either, but certainly not the weakest. I think it certainly can work here. It really just comes down to his maneuverability, the way he's able to avoid some of these pips and the Zen auto attacks as well.
Well, Sarah's finalized, locked in. Maldamba on the other side with a Zen. How are you feeling about Navi's lineup for this game?
I think they did a good job. I mean, again, both drafts are really close, really tight. I think Navi found a good way to answer some of the NV pressure.
Well, it's going to be Ice Mines. The hype music has started. The band pulled out their guitars, and I'm sure Nick and Evan are just as excited to get started on Ice Mines.
How did you know?
Damn it.
We even said the same thing. We're dancing right now. Oh, we are getting our groove on, baby. The band never dismisses from, I mean, what, angelic opera to just heavy metal with some soul. I love it. I love it. These guys, they don't get paid enough. I'll tell you that. Tolkien, back to the Fernando. It's so funny we had that as the topic of discussion, and he's right back on it.
Well, if they win, that's definitely what I'm asking about.
Yep.
And the what's the key?
What is the key?
The
What is
secret
the sauce?
sauce? I want to know.
And giving Spunky that Maldamba and then the flex here onto the pip, that'll be interesting to see as well. We didn't see Drogos work out too well on this map for the Knights in Pain, but can Team Envy prove that they are of a different breed here today?
A big part of that is controlling this flank, and there's no Bomb King to kind of rip through there. Phoenix is doing a good job standing his ground, even pushing Envy back. A lot of healing coming through initially. A lot of damage out into that shield as well. That's a lot of Barracks defensive utility now gone.
Yeah. And at this point, Phoenix could be in
Was that
trouble
a kill?
here. Ooh. Really good counter. I mean, he had it ready for that moment. And to be able to use it against the Fire Spit, the angle's not always perfect on that. And a good shield as well. Everyone seems to just be ready, reading the mind of what Random Noob wants to do. Playing, giving the enemy the credit for what their potential is in the fight, not just what they're doing. Serena getting poked out, 48% here for Na'Vi.
This is just the unstoppable force and the immovable object right now. Both teams about equal on the objective. Couple people falling low. The same, 2 or 3 people on each team making their moves. Looking for the crack, not finding it, backing off, healing up, trying again. And it's been really close here until the point where we're hitting ultimates, baby.
And the problem is, ultimates on the side of Na'Vi are a lot better than the side of Envy. And it's not that Envy's are bad, it's just, in general, Dome Shield, Ancient Rage, Dread Serpent, Evil Mojo can all change the game by themselves.
Because the Na'Vi ones hit.
Yeah.
And the Envy ones really didn't.
Yeah. And Enlightenment, Convergence, Dragon Punch, Overpower. They're all strong ultimates, even Immortal as well. So, although I maybe lean it towards Natus Vincere, I do think Envy have a strong suite. They just weren't able to put them together.
Definitely, and that's how it is in the first round in those types of fights. It's what we saw last set too. The faster charging ults just win because they're still ults, they're still good, and they got there first.
Is it too much out of the game to be saying, you know what, we need to take the pace of this fight faster? Because if we wait till ults, they're going to probably be able to just 1-2 punch our tank with the Evil Mojo.
I think it's new, man.
Is that too much to think ahead?
No, I don't think at this point. I think it's happened enough. I think there's been enough 2-minute and 30-second, 3-minute point fights to where you got to say stuff's about to be coming through. Like, I'm at 70% and I'm not doing really much, so they've got to be full.
Yeah. No, I think that needs to be included into the active conversation amongst these teams, saying, do we need to fight before ults, or are we going to lose the ult fight initially, so we have to, be able to try and take this in a different way?
Maybe it's week 1. Maybe it's just, a little bit of nerves, but this is game 6, so I don't know how many nerves are going to be actually left.
Nice shot.
But if you're not really being committal, then stuff's not going to really happen for you. Oh, going fishing and coming up big this time around, Mr. Hayes. Holy.
That was too big. Couldn't even hold the fish for the picture afterwards. It was just, it toppled him.
That's tough.
Oh, and he's going to die to Spunky's gourd.
Easy for Spunky, dude.
Oh, my God. A little bit of revenge from
Look at that spray on
the underworld.
I like that.
The Ice Cube spray. That would be nice.
Iced out.
Iced out. What if there was a cold spray that wasn't like a toxic, chemical for your body that could just spray on a liquid and then you could turn it cold without the need for ice, diluting it? That's $1 million idea if someone ever figures out how to do it.
If you turn computer duster upside down, it kind of comes out like cold
That's
spray.
the chemical part that you can't do. That's the one qualifier.
It's definitely bad for you. Definitely don't do that.
Do not do that. That was totally a joke. 20 seconds left here for Na'Vi to continue their push. Hasn't really gotten anywhere, but we know that things can happen at the very last minute. All the sets today have gone at least 6 games. This one could finish if MV can't pull it together.
Ooh. That equalizer kill's pretty good there. we talk about those like 1-for-1 trades are in favor of the defense. It's kind of like 2-for-1 trades might still be in favor of the defense on Ice Mines, because that one person has to, you know, go through hell and back to get to this team fight. It takes you like 15 to 20 seconds to ride from base back to where these players are fighting now. And the kills are coming for Na'Vi and not really for Envy, so this Iron March shall continue for now.
The fact that they got through that one, because that looked like it was clearly going to be a victory, but you know what Creatives is doing with his self-healing, with the Moxie, with the Acumen, which I'm sure he's running in the loadout. Acumen 3, Moxie 5, and Escape Artist 5, which is something that, you know, we don't necessarily see at level 5. We don't necessarily see in every pip build as well. Some people will go reload, or they'll go for some extra, you know, ability to get some healing onto their teammates and receive some healing back. Creatives.
They lose Zarini, but they keep Spunky alive, and he's picking up a frag. And you got to move, Rock. You got no choice at this point. Commander's grab misses, though, and that's going to turn this one around. The heal comes through. Creatives, a couple more shots. Is he getting pocketed from down low? He must be.
I think Spunky's done a great job of healing up Creatives, and it's really weird to think. You're really used to seeing this pip. Okay, use this heal. Now he's isolated, but Spunky is healing him up so well. And Rubu looked like he was about to pop out and gets killed, or that's just what happens when you kill Khan Egg.
That was just unfortunate. Rock Monkey was in front of all 3 of those shots and the hook, and somehow it all just hit Mr. Hayes. You could tell Mr. Hayes was literally backing straight up because he's like, oh, I have a teammate in front of me.
Yeah.
And Rock's just like canoodling his way around all these shots without even actually being aware of the McCall. It may have been beneficial if he did get hit by one of those shots, because he could have woken up to the pressure.
That's right. I mean, at this point, you never know what's going to be the difference in these fights. There's just so much to dissect that it's sometimes easier to just sit back, relax, and enjoy what happens. The overpower is ready, though, for Rubu, I will say that, and that is something that is a crucial ultimate on this map. He's going to be waiting to find someone, but he's got to hit it. That hit scan pressure is something that you do not want to, you know, obviously waste now, and he knows that the Ancient Rage is there. There's even Mocho. Oh my goodness gracious, couldn't even use the overpower.
Small man comes barreling through with the little combination hook there, and 36% now and climbing for Na'Vi, with still a pretty important ultimate in the tank, but Envy with 4 of their own, I have to imagine they'll be able to win this.
The Evil Mojo was just so good. I think Rock could maybe touch left side.
I think he had a tank in front.
Ooh, good dome shield, but a better finish here. And I think they can actually touch onto the point now, and they will. Smucky should be going down, and this is bad. This is really bad for Na'Vi, because they're now getting staggered out and killed.
Yeah, now moving forward on the zone, it's time to see if Envy can do it a little bit better. They're still sitting on the Enlightenment here. Close, though. Lazy's getting close. There's no way he's going to be able to make it through here. A lot of damage coming through, and that'll do it.
Yeah, that's going to do it. Envy going to have their turn to push now. But I do want to say, what is the itemization coming up from Envy already? The Wreckers seem to be flowing, and 3 members do have Wrecker. Mr. Hayes, Rock Monkey, Random Noob. Don't often see Saris with Wrecker, but it makes sense here in this moment because of just the shield and the spammability of her 1, left click.
Plenty of resilience as well for the guys of Team Envy, so Creatives needs to see this coming. Be aware that he's not going to be able to do what he's been doing as fast or have as long to do it. Dragon Punch is going to come through. All the damage reduction during Weightless in the world won't save you from that one as Spunky slithers away. Might have actually slithered out of this one. No, Fireball's going to do it.
Yeah, and I think at that point they just realize they probably are going to kill Spunky, but it's the same thing with, you know, we've seen a lot of supports get out of those situations when you think you've got them and then they self-heal, they get somebody else out of the fight. You know, there's some damage from somewhere that you weren't expecting. Envy playing cautiously, but still playing confidently.
Plenty of time to move this one as well. Much better time to start pushing as Na'Vi are kind of rocking and rolling here. Overpower is going to give them a free pick and on a Spunky as well, so no more poke damage. This is all going to stick because the support is dead.
And this is maybe where he wants to use the overpower. It's risky, knowing that your overpower could whiff, and that would almost be like a green light for the enemy team to try to press you. But Phoenix here running at least Hideout 4, I would imagine, on that Zen. Gets out of the way with an extended Billow. And it will be Hideout 4. It's a long time. Not quite Country Zen levels of Hideout 5, but it's enough.
Is that what spurred that?
Yeah. Hideout 5.
Chilling, man.
Chilling, man. A whole like 2 seconds just added on.
49 on the clock now. Trying to work his way through. Nice
Good
shield
shield.
there. And block out the hook. Rock finds a pick there on a Phoenix. He had all his cooldowns up too.
And this is good damage. I mean, finding headshots there on the Con makes a difference with that Storm of Bullets loadout. Good trade here. Con and Drogas. This is scary, man.
Cauterized too.
I think he's gone, and Spunky can't do anything about that. Zarini has to give that up or fight through. There was no way but to delay maybe the death. And what Lazy does is he delays the kill on him, stays alive. This is why I like Barrick a little bit more than Nando on that point take situation, because he's just so tricky, and he baits you out just by being him.
Haven't had the chance to talk much about him today, but he has been very squirrely, very, very good at staying alive in a lot of different situations, hitting good shots as well on this Barrick, making sure that random noob never really feels like he's forgotten about in the sky. Lazy will contribute significant damage to that, and frankly, I think him just staying alive, and then I also saw Spunky in the kill feed come back out of spawn swinging, so those two very veteran players for Na'Vi holding it together when things were looking very dire.
I mean, there's a lot of supports who, you know, they want to be the straight-up healers, and Spunky and Lazy, and even Frontlines as well, they want to just hold the point, they want to create space, who cares about the damage they're doing, but Spunky and Lazy, very much like even Rubu, Mr. Hayes can do this as well, just they contribute damage. They like doing it, and it's impactful. And those characters that they play have a lot of ways to change a moment in a fight, and it's not always just healing, you know, or throwing a shield up, and they know that.
10-5, 9-5, 6-5, about 5 deaths across the board almost for the guys on Envy. Mr. Hayes staying alive for the most part here. Somebody's got to kind of take over, and I'm worried about this Na'Vi comp later and later as they can't rely so much so with all of these Resilience 2s coming online. Rubu is the only one who doesn't have it. Might it be the old Dragon Punch Immortal formula?
And he got it. That was easy peasy from the squeezy right there.
This could be bad.
Spunky wants to die, though. They want to reset. So that to me, you could smell that in the way somebody behaves. Are you kidding me? What was the call on that? What was the point?
I think what is the point is the better question there, indeed. Like, what happens if you kill that Con?
Then you die immediately because there's still 4 people pressing on you. You're still 4v5. They can keep zoning.
Yeah, your team is far enough away. The overpower comes through. Lazy dies to the impact damage from being tossed. And I think that'll just about do it. One mistake can cost you so much at this level.
I think maybe they're thinking, I get the kill on him there. Then with Ancient Rage, they'll back off, expecting, okay, let's hold from a different area. But I don't know. It felt like such a risk there and kind of out of the blue.
I agree with your initial thought. I think you're turning a 5v2 into a 4v2. It's like whoop-de-doo. Yeah. You're still dead.
And Envy are now in the driver's seat. So this is a zone. This is a defensive zone. And they're looking to finish off what they started.
He's going in.
Taking Na'Vi down yet again. But it has been a valiant effort from Na'Vi. And they still are fighting for their lives here.
Man,
for the defense.
So rhythm. It's like shoot down left, shoot down left. Like
he's an aimbot. He looks like an aimbot.
It looks like, yeah, he like goes in this little triangle and muscle memory, rhythm, all of these things
You're actually right.
into it.
Yeah, I didn't notice the down left thing.
It's cool. I don't know.
Because some people like flick up, right?
Yes, Alex does that too, and I think it's so weird.
They flick up, and like if I actually try to flick, there's not a lot of times I get flicking into my rhythm. I usually am more consistent, but I do like flicking up too.
Look at the flick. Look at the wrist. My wrist goes left and right. my wrist doesn't go up and down.
Right. It's interesting, man. It's really interesting.
It's Europeans, everything's backwards.
Europeans, everything's the toilet water spins back. I think that's Asia.
I think it's Southern Hemisphere.
Southern Hemisphere. Okay, Australia. There you go.
Yeah, Australia. That'll be coming up next. Kanga with their first matchup. Dragon Punch lands again without Immortal this time, but it is going to cost a life.
Man, look at this. Creatives here in a great spot to continue defending. He's got that 30% damage reduction now, and if he gets healed up by Spunky, he'll be in a good spot. He did, but oh no. Cauterized 3. Spunky caught in a box. And he's going to get thrown up and down. Hit his head. He's already used the Slither. Rock will finish him off. A couple headshots here. Bowling ball. And that's a good trade, man. He found the kill that he needed there. Lazy's just being a thorn in their side. It's not a full wipe, but it's enough to continue the push.
I think that's just all they're trying to do. They're just trying to burn time, be near the payload, prevent them from pushing it. Every second really does matter on Ice Mines. And now it's even Phoenix, just like suicide stalling here seems to be the strategy.
You're actually right, man.
3 in a row for Na'Vi.
They really were trying to do that. Will that come to haunt them, though? Would they have been better off just Staying alive is 5. Creatives and Phoenix backing off. Defending here.
It's kind of just like
We'll never know.
when the payload goes into overtime is all you're affecting there, and now they have the chance. This is where they take the deep breath, dig in their heels, and try and force a Game 7.
This is interesting, though, because they've been pushed into a very small space, which is perfect for things like fire spits, and that's what Random Noob is the man at. He's no noob, that's for sure. Zarini's going to be forcing Ancient Rage here. He's not going to do it.
Saving it for
so
next
they
game.
trade the con. So let's see if they can do it. They've dropped 1 for 1. Here's the Dragon Punch. Envy are trying to go for this one here. They're going to grab Lazy, and it's going to continue into overtime.
Oh, it just now respawned.
Oh my god.
And it's a field day for
god.
Noob in the back line. Ancient Rage is here. It's available. Shell Shield's going to turn into the Ancient Rage. No Dragon Punch to answer it. Envy have so many more ults, though, Evan.
They should have done it. They should have Ancient Raged, I think, earlier. This is now putting them in the precipice of losing the set, Nick. Zarini is solo, and Rock Monkey is healthy. Lazy's going to go down. Creatives is the last hope. Dread Serpent is available, but no, it will not come out in time. Envy win Game 6, and they win their first set of the PPL.
Solid, but let's remind everyone, this is the world champion team against a 4 of Na'Vi. I'm surprised Na'Vi didn't get 4-0'd today. I really thought the champs were going to come out swinging.
Yeah.
Definitely want to give a nice pat on the back to Zarini. I thought he played
Great job.
very, very well given his situation and all of the pressure. And I mean, goodness gracious, what a matchup to throw that poor guy into.
He fit right in, surprisingly, and it also speaks to the flexibility of Phoenix to be able to fill in Mutu's role well enough so that you didn't really feel like much was missing from Na'Vi. Slide Phoenix into Zarini's role, slide Mutu back into what he usually does. This is a crazy matchup to start off the PPL, and it still was. Grats to you guys, and let's send it back to the desk to break down this set.
I mean, you called it. You said exactly what was going to happen. You were saying that now we've had 4-1s, we've had 4-0s, we've had 1-4-3, we needed a 4-2, and you got it. And you can see Envy obviously happy with their win, being able to take it now 2 times within a year of each other over Na'Vi. About 3 times, actually, if you count Vegas as well. So this has been the matchup that they've been probably the most contested over, whether or not they can beat Na'Vi, and now they've showcased that they can repeat that performance.
No, definitely, and there's still lots to take away on the side of Na'Vi as well. The fact that they...
That was with a sub.
Right, with a sub, took it to 6 games, and did so pretty convincingly in a couple of those games. I mean, there's certainly no one to scoff at. Huge things out of Na'Vi today as well.
And look, the damage numbers are there on their side. I mean, 100,000, 100,000, 83,000. But it is going to be on the other side that we see a lot of the slash lines looking better. 15-7 for Rock Monkey, 17-9 for Random Noob, knowing where to place the rockets. There were several moments. I mean, I even got a little hype towards the very end when you were looking at 2 people in a small corridor when you're just able to hit 2 of them all at once with just 1 rocket.
Oh my.
Nothing feels better.
That is so satisfying.
And I'm going to say nothing feels better than watching Random Noob play this champion because it just looks so good.
Right. I mean, he hit, I think, 3 or 4 or 5 of the Na'Vi players there with the flame spit, and that was something we had questioned before going into the game. Like, obviously this isn't Drogos' best map, the initial point fight, he's not as high flying, but you see here, he's in a tiny little hallway. Granted, Na'Vi wasn't expecting Drogos to be there, but enough pressure and enough of a spot for him equals a great game out of Drogos, and Random Noob showing us he can play Drogos wherever he wants.
And it's just the mentality, I think, coming into this. One of the things that the team had.
Mentality.
Like, I think there was a lot of it at the very beginning where it's like, well, you're going to have the leg up, they have a sub, and if you come in thinking like that, maybe it gets a little bit easier for you to falter, like we saw in Maps 2. And again, huge props to Na'Vi being able to accomplish what they did with a sub against the world champs, but Envy being able to come out on top. A lot of 4-1s, a lot of 4-2s, and very obviously once they got firing, Rock Monkey, Random Noob, and the rest were all doing well. But here's the more important question. Fernando won another game.
Fernando did win another game. I'm happy that he did.
Better,
I'm happy
worse?
that he made his comeback.
Still
I think I don't quite remember all the picks from game number 1, but I think where you're picking Fernando as like the lone tank with no utility behind him, like that's where I don't enjoy him as much. I mean, you had a con in that last game Commander's Grab, Overpower. I mean, there is displacement, there's utility in other champions. You had the Saris convergence as well. So I don't mind Fernando in those situations. It was some of the earlier games where it was like, oh, we need a tank. Here's Fernando, where it seemed a little disjointed. I still think he's a fine frontliner.
Yeah.
I don't think he's a bad pick by any means. But utility-wise, I think there's some other routes that can be traveled.
And speaking of that convergence, that's the one I'm going to pick out on there because Mr. Hayes at one point in there hit a huge one, was able to pull, I think, 4 people all into one area. It might have been actually in that same clip where Drogoz is hitting 3 or 4 people because it's so many all in one little spot for them. So the team playing lights out, and again, Envy are the ones who take it. Once again in 6, so we're having 6 for the first set, 6 for this set, 6 in the finals when they were able to beat
Need
them.
some holy water here if we're going to go 3 games.
Yeah,
sixes.
no, it's going to get a little dangerous. Actually, next up we will have, I believe it's Kanga and Renegades, but before we can get to that, we are going to be able to sit down and talk to the boys of Envy now that they're going to be coming through. And it sounds like we have Rock Monkey and Tulky standing by. So let's go ahead and jump to them and see how they feel after this win.
Thank you, guys. And Rock, you absolutely did eyebrow at some point during this set. That was without a doubt. First question, though, I do have for Tulky. Fernando, man, we knew Fernando was going to be coming from this MB squad. I didn't know if it was going to be from Rubu, or I didn't know if it was going to be from you, but it ended up coming from you exclusively today. What's the sauce? What's the secret to Fernando that everybody else has been missing?
Grow tank, but with the changes to both Scorch and running the boost speed card off the Fireball, you have to change how Fernando plays. He can't really chase people anymore. He doesn't have Brand. He can't really just confirm kills. Instead, he has new Brand, which heals, and he has a new HP card as well. So if you saw my decks, I ran like 5 on Fireball CD and like 4 on heal and 4 on HP. So I'm just going to be this big beefy tank with Formidable, just healing constantly and trying to sustain something to match similar to something like a Barrack or an Inara. And Fernando still just god tier, really. But the problem we faced was Phoenix's Tyro. So the Mark and the Fire, that's like hell for Fernando.
You feel like it feels like you're feeling that, but you know, for a hot Spaniard, it feels like he'd be able to withstand the heat a little bit.
With how Phoenix was playing, that's way too much heat.
It did seem like he really brought the Tyro to light in this set, and we showed some of the benefits of it. We haven't seen North America pick that up a little bit. Is that something EU is kind of pioneering a little bit more so and bringing to this LAN meta, or are you guys just saving that for a rainy day?
I mean, they've been on and off with Tyro in the past, so they've always had an affinity for it, for Tyro Ying kind of stuff. I mean, we're prepared to flex to it, but it's not really my favorite thing.
And you guys obviously never sleep on anyone, never really underestimate anyone, and that's a big part of why you are where you are right now. But last question, were you expecting Na'Vi to come out with a substitute player and give you a run like that today?
Yeah, of course. It's Na'Vi. Regardless they have a sub or not, it's Na'Vi. It's the same squad, it's the same. They still have the 4 core, and doesn't matter if they have 1 sub, 2 subs, it's Na'Vi. It's going to be really tough.
All right, guys, thank you so much, and congratulations on the dub. We're going to go to a quick commercial break. We'll be right back with our last set of the day.
Thanks.
Brought to you by Skillshot, Hi-Res Studios, Evil Mojo, INAP, SteelSeries, Respawn.